Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Angry Dave podcast. This is Dave. My next guest is my longtime friend. We've known each other since 7th grade. We just figured that out tonight. Omar,
Yo,
what's up, buddy?
what's happening, Dave? Every time I hear you say Angry Dave podcast,
Yeah,
I can't think of any time that you were mad,
really?
except for one time, dude.
Give it to me.
When you fought Wesley in class.
That was like in 12th grade, wasn't
No,
it?
it's like 11th grade,
Was
maybe.
it? Yeah,
Maybe about 12th grade.
yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that was about. Excuse my language. Can I curse?
Yeah, of
All right,
course.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was about, but yeah.
yeah. No, I could tell you it was about
Excuse me.
me and I don't know. Me and Wesley would always have this. We always had a little bit of a thing. I don't know what it was, but we would go back and forth. But he was busting my balls about baseball or something.
Yeah, but when you know somebody forever,
Yeah, forever. Yeah,
it's like when you have family, you get into fights with family.
100%.
It's going to happen. Like,
Yeah, we were like
inevitable.
brothers.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It was
But yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen you like angry or mad.
That's funny.
I can't think of no other time.
Oh, that's good. All right, so let's wait. I usually start with talking about background, but you got a lot of stuff going on right now. I want to get up to date. What's going on with you? Tell everybody what you've been up to.
Okay, well, I can try to summarize it by going to the background a little bit.
Yeah.
We attended the Girard Academic Music Program, music school here in South Philadelphia, 22nd and Rittner.
Right.
And that's where I learned how to play drums. Prior to that, I had no musical, like no one in my family plays music or an instrument, whatever the case is. So I learned how to play drums then, got into music from there. So with that being said, I played, drums since, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And in and out, it wasn't like a passion to where I kind of went off and did my thing, like the Orrin Evanses and the Jaleel Shaws of the world, like Rich Hill. They went on to make music their career.
Right.
I didn't do that. I worked jobs, did the adult thing or whatever, but then got to a point where I said, you know what? I don't like this corporate thing.
Yeah.
I need to do something I enjoy doing. So I started playing music again, cutting hair. So
right.
Currently I'm a barber and I'm also 1/6 member of a group called MobBluz. It's a mob of us who love to play the blues.
Nice.
We are a hip hop boom bap jazz band, and it's a wonderful thing for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
It allows me to continue to play music. I'm around a nice, diverse, age and race and culture group of people.
Yeah.
That all enjoy, the commonality of playing music.
Yeah.
Kind of keeps me young. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? I have fun with it. Takes me places. Been overseas with this group.
Yeah.
West Coast with this group. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. But it all stems from the fact that I went to GAMP.
Right.
And learn music and music theory.
Where can we get some of your music?
Oh, we're actually everywhere. So it's spelled MobBluz, and you can do it kind of like Method Man. MobBluz. It's like that's what we play in all of our songs. That's like our drop. Yep. So you can find that on Spotify, iTunes. We have a website. Find us on Instagram, YouTube.
Okay.
We're looking to put more content on YouTube. That's the thing nowadays with young people.
Yes, sir.
Content. Yeah. And congrats, by the way, on the podcast. I've done one before. It's not the easiest thing. It's pretty cool. It's, I think the cool thing about it is that it's you.
Yeah, I'm just trying.
You're not trying. You're doing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you're doing your thing, bro.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm cutting hair at South Street Barbers. If I can get a shameless plug, 1316 South Street.
Yep. And talk about the type of music the MobBluz is.
It's a boom bap jazz band. So our original music kind of covers almost every genre for real. Like,
yeah, it does.
I am the hip hop element of the group.
Okay.
I'm a drummer by trade, but I'm not the drummer in this group. Our drummer is MD. Her name is Musical Dunk. That is her brand name. If you want to find her, it's Musical Dunk, MUZIKALDUNK. Awesome drummer. We have Josh Mandrake, who is our Polish guitar player, electric guitar player, Mr. Tatted Out. We have Gabe Preston, GPS Sounds. He's our horn player, horn, flute, clarinet, like he used to play back in the day. I don't know if y'all know this, people, but Dave played clarinet in school.
I did.
Pretty good too. We have Doc Downs, who's our bass player, and we have Daniel Saleem, who's our keyboard player. So, and I'm the hip hop element, so I'm more of a DJ. I use my drum machines. Sometimes I'll create a track myself, and the band emulates that track and plays along with me.
Yeah.
Other times I'm just the cherry on top of the band. Like I just provide the percussion sounds and sound effects and rap lyrics if we're doing that type of thing. So
yeah, and it's fun. It's a fun time.
It's super fun. And the thing is, we do a lot of covers. So we do a lot of songs that are well known that we make our own.
Yeah.
I think our biggest display of that was at Bethlehem's Music Fest last summer. We had a 2-hour set, and we'll cover songs like the Kings of Leon, Sex on Fire.
Yeah.
We'll do Jill Scott's "It's Love," like songs that are known, across genres or whatever. We may end up doing a version of Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum. I mean, who doesn't go bump 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 when
Yeah.
they hear that song? You know what I mean?
That's right.
Regardless. So that's what's fun about it. But our original from the Mud music is very jazzy and has a little bit of a rock element and of course a hip hop element to it as well. So
Yeah.
it's fun music for everybody.
Yeah. You will enjoy yourself. I've been to a couple shows,
Thanks for
and
coming out.
yeah, I enjoy myself every time.
You and that good friend Michael Bright have always supported through the years, and I definitely appreciate that. Now I'm
So
here face to face with you. I can tell you that.
yeah, I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
that. I love you, buddy.
I
You know
love you
that.
too, bro. You already know it.
So all right. So let's talk about from the beginning. You were born in 1976, correct?
1970 December of 1976.
And we
Right?
used to be the same height up until about 11th grade, and now you are about
Yeah,
a lot taller than me. It's not
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, but don't be upset because my knees ache. I have issues when I book a flight and I want to move to the exit row. I have to spend more money. I don't play sports. I actually quit playing drums in 10th grade to attempt to play basketball. I was better than Wesley.
Oh,
Shots fired.
shot fired.
No, I love Wes. I was just as good as Wes. Let's say that.
Okay.
But I was a much better drummer in school. But yeah, I had an 8-inch growth spurt since I graduated high school at 5'7", bro,
Yep.
and I ended up being 6'3"
That's amazing.
in a matter of like a year and a half.
I've never seen that. You're the only person I've ever seen that happen to.
Yeah, I remember when Karina, we had some type of gathering years ago, and Karina Freeman saw me. It's like, who the fuck said you can get this tall? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't feel tall because of
Right.
that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Spady, I just saw Spady a couple of days ago, and it's just like I'm his height, maybe a little taller.
Yeah.
He'll say I'm not, but
So you grew up in South Philly?
I kind of grew up everywhere.
Yeah.
So I claim South Philly
Okay.
because both my mother and father came up in South Philly.
Gotcha.
Both graduated from my mother graduated from South Lee High.
Yep.
My father graduated from I believe Newman.
Okay.
Back in the day, and which is now Newman Goretti.
Right.
So most of my family went to St. Charles. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So I claim South Philly. However, I was born in Pennsylvania Hospital, and I lived in West Philly
Okay.
for a long time up until I graduated middle school in 6th grade, and that's when I came to Gamp in 7th grade.
Gotcha.
But I would commute from 49th and Springfield Southwest.
Oh wow.
But my grandmother was always in South Philly.
Yeah.
My mother's from South Philly. My dad's from South, so I always claimed South Philly.
Yeah.
Because of that. But I did have my formidable years since I moved to my grandmother's house when I was in 9th grade.
Okay.
So I went from West Philly to Yaton to North Philly. North Philly, I was at 33rd and Dolphin, but that's 9th grade we're talking.
Okay.
10th grade, I moved to South Philly, and I did South Philly up until my senior year. Then I moved out to Lindbergh Boulevard, West Philly.
Gotcha.
So it's more of a claiming of South Philly because I lived in a few different places around Philadelphia.
Gotcha. Tell me about what was life like as like a middle schooler for you? What were you like?
I'm probably the same that I am now.
Yeah.
Always laughing, having fun. I didn't have a rough life, thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like in hindsight, I may be able to look back and say I had somewhat of a rough life because, I didn't realize until I got older that I didn't have but so much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the difference. Like we were talking with your kids earlier. Like that's the difference between the era that we're in now, this modern era, versus pre-internet. Like you didn't have to have much to have a good time and have a good life. You know what I mean?
And you didn't know what you didn't have.
You didn't know what you didn't have. There's a whole damn show, Good Times, when they talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Michael Evans and JJ Evans and all type of stuff, and not having not having much, but having a good time. So it's growing up in middle school and things like that, I had fun. I have an older brother, Spark, who's 7. We call him Spark, but he's 7 years older. So it's interesting. I was talking to some friends earlier about some of the experiences I had being young.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came from the fact that my brother's 7 years older. So 14 to 7, 21 to 14, you kind of see some things that you probably shouldn't have seen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Philly was different. You can kind of go all over the place, and you had your little. I didn't have a lot of fights. Yeah. I probably had maybe 3 or 4 fights in my life.
Really?
Like real fights. Like when I say my life, I'm talking about like middle school, high school.
Yeah.
That part of life. So life was good. Life was fun. Life was interesting because I did commute from a lot of different parts of the city. So
Right.
middle school does include, well, for me, 7th and 8th grade. That's
Yeah.
junior high technically.
Right.
So with that being said, I had a lot of fun. I mean, we went to school together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it was cool. I was very fortunate to go to Gamp to be around diversity,
Yeah.
not being stuck in one neighborhood and
Yeah.
having one aspect of life. Like, doing the music thing, you kind of understand the world a little bit different
Yeah.
because of music. So I can't say anything bad about coming up. There was a lot of things just in our era that was interesting. You got the Reaganomics, you got like
Yeah.
Move, like Osage Avenue, like stuff
Right.
that we fully understand now as adults, but we were living through that.
Right.
I mean, our generation is really interesting.
It's just a different. Yeah,
Yeah, so
we were talking about that earlier too. Is how our generation is sort of like the connection between the old times
mhm,
and the current times, right?
mhm,
We grew up with rotary phones, and we knew a time when black and white TVs,
right,
and then we
yeah,
also ushered in the internet era.
we ushered it in, and
Yeah.
I think there was a different understanding too, understanding that there were certain things that just were. Nowadays,
Yeah.
like this, if we were faced with a lot of the situations that kids are faced with today, people today can argue almost anything and find the good or the bad in almost anything.
Right.
In our era, it was like, this is good or this is bad. You make a
Yeah.
choice whether you want to deal with it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no teetering between
Yeah.
those lines. You know what I mean? I think the internet does that because of the information that's provided.
Right. Information is not necessarily all equal, and there can actually be too much information
Right.
and misinformation.
Right. That could be good or bad. I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of I remember one time we ran into each other. You came to a show. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I saw you walking or whatever. You stopped. You gave me a ride to a show. You came to
Yeah.
check out a show, and we had a conversation just about the fact that you're Caucasian and I'm black. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And the differences in that. And fortunately, because we went to the school that we went to, we can have these conversations, understand the intent behind the conversation, everything
Right.
like that.
Right.
And with that being said, there were certain understandings that, you know what I mean? Like, for example, my dad would have taught me with him going to Newman, he used to get chased home sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
whole racial component.
Right.
So there's an understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was also a respect.
Right. Yeah.
You know that just because you're from Italians are this way, African Americans are this way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
By and large.
Yeah.
And when you get to know somebody, get to meet somebody, you're cool on that level. But there was an understanding that your family may not accept me the same way that you do.
Right. Right.
Doesn't mean I have to worry about this, that, third. People be cordial, but there was an understanding. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
And vice versa. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Absolutely.
Nowadays, in a good way, those barriers are kind of knocked down, which is the great, which is
100%.
the
Yeah.
great thing.
That's great. Yeah.
However, some people want to hold on to those old school ways, and I'm
Old
glad
school
that
ways.
children of today can kind of see a bigger, better world because of the internet.
Because they're exposed to more. Yeah.
That's the positive side of it.
Yeah.
On the flip,
Yeah.
the internet can allow you to kind of just go into your little echo chambers and stay amongst your
Yeah.
minions or whatever, and just kind of stay absorbed in a certain thing. And then, speaking as a quote unquote black person, I say quote unquote because I mean, what is black? What is white? These are
Right.
class systems I can't buy a plane ticket to black. I can't buy a plane ticket to white. So,
Right.
for example, me being black, it's easy. Let's use CRT for example, critical race theory.
Right.
I think the truth should be told. I think the story should be told. I think the history should be told. But
Yeah.
I understand why someone would be afraid of that because it could be weaponized. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's
Right.
possible for someone
Sure.
to tell a story in a way that benefits them to weaponize the situation to make you angry, to go, you know what I'm saying?
But again, on the flip side, the story has been told from a certain point of view for forever.
Exactly.
Right.
So
It's changing the point of view.
it's changing the point of view.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, bro, it's
Yeah.
like, we were talking about the internet era and us ushering in the internet. We have to be careful with it. And we have to
Yeah.
be more respectful and have real open conversation and communication because it doesn't serve anybody. Like I could sit here and have a whole rant about what it is to be African American and just kind of be on some political
Right.
militant. I hate, but I could because
Right.
of what I've dealt with in life and what I've seen in information.
Sure.
But it kind of goes back to middle school and us knowing each other and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
When you have real experiences with people,
Yeah.
I can't go too far. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Because what would that say about our relationship?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If I was, you know what I'm saying?
Understand. Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah. Like you have a perspective of that although I've had those experiences, everyone isn't necessarily like that, and that type of thing. And then like I have other experiences too. I'm a poor white kid who had a lot of the same issues,
Right.
but not all of them.
Hmm.
Right? I could always go into a boardroom, which I have been in the boardrooms with racist motherfuckers,
Right.
and they don't know who I am because they can't look at and see me as a different person.
Right. Right.
So
And that's the beauty of going to a diverse school such as again.
yeah,
You know what I'm
right. It
saying? And
is.
understand and knowing that there are quote unquote allies out here and
Yeah,
people that what I mean? And it's wild because what we were talking earlier about the I guess the modern era and
yeah,
internet and things like that. Something I've noticed is that people do want to find their tribe.
yeah.
And it's so much easier to do that now.
Right.
Are you familiar with like incels?
Yeah,
That's wild to me.
yeah.
But I get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like David Spady, another friend of ours that you've known much longer than I've known, but Spady and I, we went to college together, stuff like that. We
Yeah,
have conversations, and something that he brings up pretty often is having emotional intelligence.
yeah, man.
And what I describe that as for myself is basically you don't have to agree with everything,
Right.
but you could understand where something's coming from. Doesn't mean you
Exactly.
support it, doesn't mean you condone it,
Yeah.
but you can understand.
And you can love somebody that you completely love somebody and actually like being around them, and you completely disagree with everything that they believe in.
Exactly.
You can.
You can't. It's
I
very
d-
possible. It's
I
very
d-
possible.
Listen. I have very close friends that we hardly believe in anything
Hmm.
that the other believes in. However, I know that those people would kill for me,
Right.
and if you were their friend, they would do the same for
Right.
you.
And but that's respect. That's genuine
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like the incel community
Yeah.
are a group of for those I don't know the exact definition, but
Right.
basically this is how I'm going to put it.
Yeah.
A bunch of losers who couldn't get girls and they're mad about that, so they could potentially be dangerous.
Right.
Some go to the extreme of doing things like changing their body and having surgeries to look better because of the mental thing that they go through. They can't get women or whatever. Some are dangerous in the sense that they would rather try to go rape a girl, scrape a girl, whatever you want to call it. I don't want
Right.
to,
Yeah.
say these words that become buzzwords that can get people demonetized and all that type of stuff.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. Don't worry
Cool.
about me.
So it's like but I also have enough emotional intelligence to understand that if you have this kid who is by modern mainstream standards ugly or whatever, or
Yeah.
not popular,
Right.
yeah, I can see that happening. It's kind
Right.
of like when people talk about the trench coat kids and they're ostracized from the
Right.
world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because okay, boom. I've never had a situation about it. I've come across. I have friends who had money, friends who were poor, piss poor, broke, friends who were
Yeah.
popular, friends who were not so popular,
Right.
across the board. And at the end of the day, we're all just people.
Yep.
So
At the end of the day, we all really want the same thing. We want, some basic needs met. We want to be accepted and we want to be loved. That's it.
that's it.
That's it.
That's everybody. Some
Yeah.
people have the opportunity to get more of that sooner in life, or
Yeah.
through life. Some people are not. And I think that the school that we went to, my
Yeah.
upbringing, it taught me to have respect for, the people that I'm around, people that I see.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about that. At the same time, it can be frustrating because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that bother me, a lot of things that frustrate me about life in general, things that I just can't answer, things that, me being an optimist, I want to see people, happy and that third. But I totally get why some people will never be happy, why some people
Yeah.
can't do this, or some people can't mess with this group of people,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Back to the trench coat kids, like you understand how it happens. That doesn't mean you accept it, but
Exactly. Right.
but you understand how somebody could be so ostracized that they don't want to live and they want to take somebody down with them. I mean,
Exactly.
it happens every day.
It happens every day. I think, man, so many ticking time bombs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. And that's the danger in where we are today, in my estimation, with the internet and all that, is that you can find any truth that you want.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I was saying. You can find the truth that you want,
Right.
no matter what it is.
Right.
And to me, it's amazing because I like to Google dive sometimes. I like to go into YouTube and then just kind of dive and just find just random things. And I actually came across like bushcraft, the bushcraft community.
Okay.
Bushcrafting is pretty much going out to the woods with a knife, a tarp, and a rope, and you can just survive.
Yeah.
You know how to fish, trap stuff, and build a shelter and all with just a knife. Or that's
Right.
interesting to me. But there's a huge community of bushcrafters.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I love BMWs, old BMWs. There's a whole community for like one specific car. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
I get it. So if that is the case for camping and cars, also be
Correct.
the case for races, also the case for
Yeah. Anarchists. Yeah.
all kinds of things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And that's what scares me too is that again what we have been going through with the cancel culture, right? You find that insular community and then you dive into that and then all that information that's out there and available and you can open your mind and then you close it off and you can't have a conversation with people.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's where we are. I
That's,
mean,
that's, that's where we are in the primitive stages of this whole Matrix
yeah.
Terminator type thing.
Yeah.
Um, we're old enough to talk about the Terminator, the original one. I mean,
Right.
the basic story is humans and computers, AI. We're dealing with AI right now,
Yep.
and artificial intelligence realized that wait a minute, the cancer to this planet are humans. Like we need to get
Yeah.
rid of humans, so it become a war between humans
Yeah.
and we try to destroy the robots and blah blah blah. And now switch over to the Matrix. We try to block out the sun because they were using solar energy. Blah. Then they realized like humans have an energy source, so let's use humans as batteries, right?
Yeah.
And of course, anybody that's seen the Matrix, you know, you plug yourself into the Matrix, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yep.
So I say we're in the primitive stages because you don't have to get plugged into the Matrix, but you can go right on the internet.
Yeah.
We have a game, we had and have a game called The Sims from
Yep.
like 22 generations, 2 decades rather.
Yeah.
And you live in a simulated world. Now we have VR technology where you literally, people like buying art and buying land in a VR metaverse.
Right. They're buying stuff that doesn't exist.
Stuff that doesn't exist in real life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, because yeah.
And that's, yeah, it might be fun, but that's kind of dangerous and scary to me.
Well, you get further away from reality, further away from that real conversation.
Right. And my thing is who benefits from that?
Oh no, the people that the people that have the money
Yeah.
or the power. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
The
it.
power, money, the uber wealth, like that level beyond wealthy.
It's no different than the Roman Colosseum, right? It's
Yeah.
it's distracting you while we're raping and pillaging.
Oh,
I mean,
100%. 100%. I mean, what they say, give the people the beer and the, you know, the fights against the lions or the gladiators and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah,
you can argue that's. I mean, we're watching baseball in the background. You can argue that's
that's the same.
baseball, basketball, football is all the same.
It's all the same. Yeah,
But like we mentioned earlier, earlier being in the conversation we had in the living room before we started the podcast,
yeah,
it's all about balance too.
yeah. It is
I
balance.
enjoy watching the game. I enjoy, you know, seeing what the Phillies are going to do. I enjoy all that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And it is fun.
we all need outlets, right?
100%.
And we all need to take a step back from reality and not think for a little bit,
Right.
get out of our minds. But
Right.
we can't always be out of our minds.
I agree. I
You know,
totally agree.
there has to be some foot on the ground, right? I mean, and know what is important in the world. And that's the other thing too, right? Is we're forgetting about what's important.
Right.
I mean, listen, I was a keyboard warrior like nobody else in the beginning of this whole Facebook thing, and I'm done with it because
Mhm.
I've lost friendships over it,
Right.
over dumb shit,
Right. I feel
over
you.
literally just arguing to argue.
Yeah.
Because I like to argue,
Yeah.
but then the person on the other side can't take it.
I'd rather say debate.
Debate, right?
Because arguing is just your ego. It's just saying, "Oh, I
Right.
want to be right because
You're
of my
right.
feelings." But debating means I understand where you're coming from, but we're just making points.
Right.
And typically, a good debate ends with a common ground and a positive outcome. It
Yeah,
should anyway.
it should.
We should educate each other on these topics. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but the internet and you know the Facebook, these Facebook arguments, Facebook debates, they're not debates. It's really
It's just
just
the arguments. Yeah,
they're
for sure.
arguments. I'm just trying to get the best. I'm trying to get the best line out.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
what
yeah.
happens.
I give you an example of that one time, and this is when I was like I still enjoy going into the comments and saying things,
Yeah,
but I try to find myself saying something positive or
yeah,
something that would. Granted, it's just me. Who am I? Like whatever. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
But granted, I do feel like you can say something to somebody that will make them think, and you never know if that person has the power to get 10 more people to think in a more
right.
positive, you know,
Yeah,
whatever. I'm optimistic like that. You know what I mean? It may
yeah.
seem corny, you know what I'm saying? But
No,
to
it's not.
some, but you know, it's real. So
Yeah,
I remember being on Facebook once and it was a question raised. And before I go into that, something I did notice, and maybe it's just common knowledge, but a lot of these questions that are raised and these videos and memes that are put up with the with a lot of vagueness to it,
yeah,
it's just for people to get clicks and interaction on their page.
100%. Yeah,
Um, in short, like as a barber, I'll see somebody post, you know, this person paid $1,000 for the haircut. It'll be a very regular haircut. They didn't pay $1,000 for the cut, but it gets people to talk about it. No way in the world I'll pay that much money and just
right,
engaging. So
right.
anyway, I digress. I'm on Facebook once, and the question was raised. if a man and woman got together and the guy says, I don't want to have children, and the woman agrees to that, and they have a sexual relationship and she ends up getting pregnant and she decides to keep the baby, who's at fault? Now, of course, that's a whole loaded question because there's so
Yeah.
much context involved that,
Right.
will make, it's just to get people talking.
Right.
Now, as a man, I kind of responded, because a lot of the rhetoric on that response was from men and women was, well, the man should have chosen who he was dealing with. He should have known better, protected
Right.
himself, all this stuff, putting blame on men.
Right.
And I said, well, where's the accountability on the woman's part? Because she actually holds more responsibility than a guy because she has to carry this child for 9 months.
Right.
And this person responded to me, because fuck you, that's why.
Right.
Clearly, because
Yeah.
you're not in front of me, you know what I'm saying? Like, clearly, this is
You
the
weren't
internet.
talking. Yeah.
And I said, listen, I think that person responded, I know what it was. I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was something alluding to the fact that a lot of men had negative comments or whatever. And this was a homosexual male
Yeah.
saying this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what about the accountability for women? You know what I'm saying? Like, and he said, well, because fuck you, that's why. And I'm just like, I never said you were wrong in what you were saying. I'm just giving you another perspective. But this is also the reason why we can't have
Conversation.
good conversation,
Yeah.
because you don't even know me and it's immediately fuck you.
Right. Yeah. And
Now,
you have no idea what I'm about, who I am.
None of that.
Completely taken out of context.
None of that. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is something I often think about because I could be honest and say it runs through my mind. Like, it's possible to find these people.
Oh, it is possible.
You understand? Like, it's possible
Yeah.
to like, like if you really like, if I can have this thought, I know some people can have this action where you can find somebody and ruin their life off of somebody being rude from sitting behind a keyboard and talking shit.
Yeah, be careful.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful. I had somebody literally threaten me online, and I had to let this woman know. 58-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Who was mad because I was trying to have a real conversation.
Right.
And it was about a young girl saying, a guy that I date right now is just for fun. It's whatever. It's just fun. And, I'll settle down later on.
Right.
And this 58-year-old woman goes on to say, well, at my age, a lot of older guys just want to have sex, yada, yada, yada. So I responded, I said, with all due respect, almost literally, with all due respect, I'm not coming at you. I'm coming at reading a comment from someone who's in their 50s. Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free, right? The right being, you're 58. That's something I learned from my elders. Like,
right.
Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? So if you're 58 years old and you're still dealing with men who don't want more from you than just sex, you're old enough to know that.
Right.
This woman got livid in the response.
Yeah.
Who are you, you little boy? You hate women and this, that, and third. And you keep talking, I'll drag your little ass and I'll hurt you. But threatening me on, I said, so I responded, I said, be careful with who you talk to. Everybody don't have their screws tight. You know what I mean?
You don't know who I am.
Don't know who I am from a can of paint. And the person's page that they were on, like, she could have been found.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people are stupid out here.
So I've never done anything.
Right.
But I found the motherfucker. I'm really a good researcher.
Not hard.
It's not hard.
Not hard. And
just a couple Google clicks and you can find the motherfucker.
If you
it actually calmed me down, to be honest with you, because I found them and I'm like, if I wanted to.
It's kind of like, that reminds me of when I first purchased a gun and start carrying a gun.
Yeah.
You know me, bro. I'm not that person.
No, you're not.
I'm not a violent person at all, whatever
the
case is.
Yeah, just dude, the bookend about Omar and being like a middle school or high school, everybody liked Omar. Everybody was his friend. I can't imagine. I never saw him angry, I don't think, to be honest with you. I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
but
hindsight being 2020, my anger probably came from a whole bunch of, let me see. I think one of the first times I got mad at Gant was about to fight Michael Ritchie.
Oh, really?
My first year there, 7th grade,
yeah.
we were in music theory class. Yeah. And whatever happened between him and somebody in class, he bumped into me. Now, me being a new kid, who is this white boy? He bumped into me. I pushed him back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna see you at 3:00.
Yeah.
But in my head, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm the new kid too, so I'm like, oh shit, who the fuck are you?
Right.
So I got Wesley and Spady, like, oh, Richie gonna kick your ass. At the same time, I'm a non-violent, nice kid, charity in the face, but I knew I couldn't leave. I knew I couldn't run so I go outside, put my hands up, and I get mad, tears are running down my face, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here ready to fight, and I don't know for sure, but I feel like I gained respect that day because
I'm sure
I
you
did
did.
put my hands up.
I'm sure you did.
Like, even though we never got into the actual fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's more like, well, he stayed here. He was going to fight. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? But
right, right.
I was angry then, and I'm pretty sure half the people that went to school have seen me upset, not angry or mad or fear, but upset. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
crying or whatever the case may be
yeah,
for whatever reasons. But
yeah. No, you were just, but you were
yeah,
always a nice kid. I mean, we never had anything, did we? I don't
never,
think,
never,
never. Yeah.
never, not once.
No, I
Nah,
don't think so.
not at all.
I had something with almost, well, no, not really at school. So I was
I
also
think
just,
most of us haven't though. We were family. Like our
we
school
really
was
were.
very small. I mean, we
Yeah,
graduated with 42 people.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
And just so people understand what Gamp is, Gamp was one of the first desegregation schools in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
People, so kids from all over the city came to it, and
It's
you
a
had
magnet school,
a
so you can
magnet
come
school,
from wherever in the city and come to that school.
right?
And the
So
musical school, started in what, 84?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
So it was based in South Philly, but there was kids from all over the city
right.
that came there. So we really did have very much of a diverse community, as diverse as it could possibly be.
Oh, for real.
I mean, Asians, Hispanics, whites,
From
blacks,
racial, financial.
yeah,
Yeah,
financial too, yeah.
yep.
There was kids that had some money.
Yeah, skill level too. I mean, from Tarek's side.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
came from Lebanon, couldn't
Yep.
sing worth a lick, was in concert choir. How do I know? Because he was in my ear singing all key. He was in my ear singing all key every damn concert.
Shout out to Tark. Tark
Yeah,
tried to.
I ran into him a couple years ago too,
I
bro.
actually just reconnected with him on Facebook real
Mhm.
quick. Tark too. Again, he's like from the Middle East, and he comes and he tries to play baseball. He almost died.
Come on, man, dude.
I mean,
Dude,
God bless him though for trying. I mean,
listen, for
I'm
try.
listening.
I mean, he
He was a great kid too.
he really was because
Yeah,
he knew colors by Ice-T like the back of his hand,
that's
and that's
funny.
what got him cool with us. I'm a psychopath walking, so I got the words myself, but he knew that at the back of his hand, bro.
That's amazing.
And it is, and that's a testament to what the school was too,
Yeah,
because he didn't have money. You
right.
know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
came from whole foreign land. And did we tease him? Hell yeah, we teased him,
yeah.
but he was still family though. It
Well, I
was,
mean,
you know,
listen, we teased each other
what?
brutally.
Listen, man, I got stories. Me and Nikki Benninger used to always talk shit to each other. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
because we were friends, you know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So, but yeah, middle school, high school, that was all great. I'm very proud of
yeah,
the ability and the opportunity to go to Gamp for
yeah,
sure, for
yeah.
sure.
You went away to Bloomsburg.
I ended up going to Bloomsburg. Yeah,
How was that experience? What was that like in the middle of Pennsylvania now?
it was a little bit of a culture shock. So
Yeah,
I graduated at 17 years old.
right.
3 days later, I'm on college campus.
Yeah,
Now, I will say,
great.
who was our counselor?
Miss Dr. May.
Boom. I don't feel like she helped me at all
Really?
in hindsight.
Okay.
Now, in her defense, I'm not going to say that I went to her or whatever, but as a counselor, like, I don't remember having any real conversations about what I should do.
Right.
Not saying that's her job completely because I do have family,
Right.
whatever case is. That being said, ended up going to Bloomsburg because Mr. Whitaker came to Gamp, and with my SAT scores, which were shitty, my SAT scores were horrible. I might have had the worst SAT scores in the whole class. Because think about it, like before I go into the whole Bloomsburg thing,
Yeah.
I played in every band I possibly could.
Everyone.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like I definitely got over in school as far as the academics. I
Yeah.
wasn't stupid. I just didn't have to
Right.
focus too much in school because I
Yeah.
played in I had built-in excuses. So I wasn't focused on what college I should go to. So Mr. Whitaker came down from Bloomsburg, got me into the Act 101 program. So I got to Bloomsburg, definitely culture shock because in 1993 they burnt a cross on the school steps.
Yep.
Yeah, so my mother didn't want me to go to Bloomsburg.
Yeah.
However, I had the support of a large part of my quote unquote family.
Right.
So I went there, Killer went there,
Yeah.
Chanel went there, Spady went there,
Yeah.
Tom went there, and Wesley went there.
Sick. Yeah.
Then the following year, Julius came up. You know what I'm saying? So I had my Gamp friends. So
Yeah.
Bloom was definitely a culture shock, but because of being out there in the country, but also my first time being by myself and just being
Yeah.
I remember standing in the middle of campus and like cursing at that yell at the top of my lungs because I knew I could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have any restrictions on me. Like so
Yeah.
for 3 years I had fun.
Yeah.
I didn't I all my memories are about having fun, not
Yeah.
going to class and nothing like that.
Me too. Yeah.
I wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
I passed my class until I pledged fraternity, and then next thing you know, I flunked out of school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I moved to DC, and then I finished school in DC.
Okay.
But Bloomsburg was cool because again, Wesley and Spady, coming out of camp, it allowed me to know that I had a home base, so to speak.
Yeah.
A couple of friends I could always come back to that'll
Yeah.
always be my friends from life.
Yep.
So I can venture out and make new friends from
Yeah.
different walks. And I remember somebody saying this back in the day that pretty much the Gamp kids were the glue to a lot of different social. Like, all right, so Bloomsburg at the time was 7,000 students,
Yeah.
only 300 were black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at that time, you had a lot of different cliques, whether it's
Yeah.
fraternity cliques, you got cats from North Philly, cats from New York, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So, but the game, like Spady was hanging out with a certain type of clique, the basketball crew, Q Dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wes hung out with a whole different crew. I hung out with a whole different crew. You know what I
Right.
mean? Kill and Chanel, they hung out with different people. Tom hung out with Spady with the basketball crew. But those different cliques came together because of
you guys.
again, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because now, mind you, there were other schools that came up there that had 7, 8 people from the same school, but we were slightly different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we adapted to Bloomsburg, which was a predominantly white area, but we went to camp, so we understood that dynamic. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Right.
like that much of a culture shock for us.
Right. Yeah. You've been around white people for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was all good. Bloom was fun. It was a break from the city. It allowed me to just kind of like figure myself out.
Yeah.
And I take that back. I didn't figure myself out in Bloomsburg. I just had fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I moved to DC after
Different.
flunking, and I attended University of DC down there, and I was living down there. That's kind of when I kind of started to figure myself out.
Nice. How long did you stay down in DC?
I was in DC almost 8 years,
Okay.
like that, like 99 to like 06, 07 ish,
Okay.
and then from there, California, lived in San Diego for almost a year,
Yeah.
and that's when life happened. Because I don't know, I don't know if we had this conversation, but
I don't think we did.
So Bloomsburg, I flunked out.
Yeah.
After my 3rd year, got sick, ended up in the hospital. I was pledging fraternity, so I didn't really care about class. I didn't go to class. Flunked out. Now my older brother and what I consider my god brother, like a good friend of the family.
Yeah.
They were living in DC, so I didn't want to come back to Philly because I felt like a failure. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
home, and I got flunked out of school.
I
What am I
got it.
going to do? I want to get a job. It's Philly. Like
Yeah.
even though I didn't fully understand it, I just kind of knew in the back of my mind, Philly is not really the place to be. You know what I'm saying, for what I wanted to do in life. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could have easily found myself just running around doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Dumb shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I tell people all the time the best thing I ever did was just. I mean, I moved to Westchester. Westchester's 45 minutes away,
Mhm.
but I could have been in Australia.
Right.
It was so different.
Right.
I was away from, my neighbor. I grew up down on Sixth and Chunk, Marshall Chunk.
Yeah.
Everybody, most of the kids I grew up with are dead or in
Yeah, no,
jail.
it's real.
So not that I was gonna be dead, but I probably would have been selling drugs.
Listen, easily.
I mean, that's what I would have been doing.
It's too much of an opportunity to do
Yeah,
so.
it was just
You know what I'm
easy.
saying? Like, and I was a good kid the whole time. Like, that wasn't my life. I wasn't violent enough like that.
Yeah.
But it's so when you get older, you think you're supposed to do certain things, and
Listen, I almost did it at Westchester because it was so easy. I would have made so much money. You bring a fucking shitty dime bag and sell it for $25.
easily.
Yeah.
Like I get it because
Yeah,
now
anyway.
now see, this is a audio podcast, but
Yeah.
if you look at me, I don't look my age. Never
Right.
have. I always looked young.
Yep.
And so I was a late bloomer because of that too.
Yep.
So my real college experience was college as far as the dorms and shit was Bloomsburg, but I went to UDC. That was more of my understanding what college is about.
Yeah.
Getting it done. Excuse me. And I actually was working part-time, working part-time, and going to school full-time
Wow.
when I got to DC.
Yeah.
That's when I really started to growing up a little bit. I had a
Right.
real job with the Washington Post, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was also doing a lot of things that I thought I was supposed to do.
Right.
And that's important to me now because I think hindsight being 2020, when you look back, doing things that make you happy
Yeah.
are way more important than doing
Yeah.
things that make you
Yeah.
financially secure. You know, let me not say financially secure, but being happy is more important than making money.
Yeah.
You want to be secure. You want to, you know what I mean? Money is a resource, you know what I'm saying? We all need it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It's not everything, though.
It's not everything. And if
Yeah.
you're spending 20, 25 years doing something that makes you money, but you're not doing things that make you happy,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
mean,
did a lot of that when I
yeah.
moved to DC. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I went back to school rather, because I wanted my mother to see me walk across that stage
Yeah.
and get a degree, because that's what I was quote unquote supposed to do. Supposed is a very strong word.
Yeah.
And think about it though. At 46 years old, bro, I am cutting hair and playing music, and I'm having the time of my life.
Amen.
You
That's
know,
all that matters, man.
imagine if I would have done it right out of high school.
Yeah. I hear you.
But that's hindsight being 2020. So
I
when I
have so many regrets in that way about even in high school, like I always wanted to be in a play
Mhm.
and I'm sure I would have been good at it. I really believe that, but I was so afraid of not being cool.
Co-
That 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 that
man,
that thing. And listen, I went to law school and became a lawyer because nobody thought I could do it.
right.
That was it.
The motivation for why people do what they do
Yeah.
is very interesting. I think everything has a balance to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what nature tells us. You have day and night, left
Right.
and right, up and down. You know what I'm saying? Every action has an opposite and equal reaction or whatever.
Right.
This is why I talk to your children.
Yeah.
And listen, I know to myself I sound like a broken record because I'm saying the same things all the time.
It's
And it
okay.
stems from the fact that when I was younger, I didn't have anybody kind
Yeah.
of make me
Yeah.
realize things. You
Yeah.
get the typical do this, do that, get a job, work 20 years, get your gold watch, retire type,
Yeah. Why? Because I said so.
because I said so.
Yeah.
It was never getting you to understand we are intelligent beings who need to be fed the proper information. And I'm not going to sit here and boo-hoo and just regret it. I'm just like, all right, well, I didn't get it, so let me have every opportunity I can, no matter
Yeah.
how I feel or sound, to tell these other kids.
Yeah.
I once got into an argument with a buddy of mine I used to cut hair with, and there was a group of African kids who were from the Congo, ran into the States, let alone Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they came through the barbershop, and I used to have candy at the time, so I'd give them lollipops. They used to come every day to come get a lollipop. And I would talk to them about doing well in school. Just because you're from a different place and you're different doesn't mean that you can't succeed, whatever case. I always had something positive to say. And my buddy was just like, man, they'll always want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like,
It's okay.
so I said, okay, so teachers go to school every day. Are they going to stop teaching because the kids don't feel like listening that day? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why would that stop me from giving them something positive? Because I could easily sit here and teach them how to be quote unquote cool. And all.
Yeah.
No, I want to, and I've seen I watched one of these kids grow up
Yeah.
through high school. He went to Southern, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Now imagine being a young African kid, quote unquote, fresh off the boat, going to
Yeah.
Southern.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with 4 years of that.
Right.
I do believe that myself and anyone else who gave that positive,
Yeah.
Hey,
And
just do what you got to do.
and
You know
just
what I
for
mean?
anybody that doesn't understand that cultural difference, like you are an outsider to everybody as an African kid,
Exactly.
an actual African kid.
An actual, exactly. An
Right.
actual African
I'm
kid,
saying
right?
not an African American kid.
An actual
So
African kid from the Congo who
you
could barely speak the language. You know
right
what I mean?
you are different than the African American kids. They don't own you,
Right.
and meaning they don't like you're not one of
Right.
theirs, and you're certainly not one of the white kids.
Yeah.
You know,
So
you're
if
literally on an island.
100%,
Yeah.
and just to have one person kind of give you a positive outlook
Yeah.
on it is something I wish I would have had when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, my kids are used to it because I tell them this all the time. I had a lot of male influence in my life. My father was there. My grandfather was there. I was loved. There's no question about it. But they both had no ounce of advice for me ever.
Yeah, right. That's real.
I mean, they literally, it was like, don't do what I do is what
Right.
their advice was. But and you have to unpack that over.
What is that? Right. What does that mean?
You have
what
to.
does this mean?
It takes you 47 years to unpack it, right?
Real shit.
So my kids get advice all the time
Yep.
from me because I didn't get it and I had to learn everything on my own. So to have somebody else tell them it is a wonderful thing for me. To have another person say similar things in a different way.
Similar things. So at the very least, they can say, you know what? Okay, Pop wasn't tripping.
Right.
You know what I mean, because like I said to you earlier, they watch you all of their life tell them yes and no, and you can do this, you can't do that. So when someone outside of them who doesn't know them says the same thing, okay, it must make sense then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And even maybe in the way you say it, it clicks. You never know.
I used to be an aftercare teacher, bro, for
Yeah.
a little bit of time. I did a lot of different things, but I was an aftercare teacher, bro, and that's when I first recognized that.
Yeah.
Like I remember this one kid, she was 12 and she thought she knew everything. Young white girl living with her grandparents up in Northeast, and she was just the hip, cool, yada yada yada. Talking about her boyfriend. I'm like, listen, let me keep it real with you. Since you know all this, let me keep it real with you.
Yeah.
What you're talking about makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you're
Right.
gonna get yourself in some real trouble. Like, let's
Yep.
stop with. And I kept it real with her. You know what I mean? And I was just able to dip down to her level and get her to understand a
Yeah.
few things just by simply making her realize common sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And communicating like a human being, right?
Like a human being. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And she ended up doing. And I'm not saying this because of me,
Yeah.
but she ended up doing very well in school.
Yeah.
I would love to. I don't know what she is now. She's probably 21, 22 at this point now.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's super important to have people. I'm big on the youth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm big on meaning, it's important to have as cliche and as corny as it may sound, I believe the children are the future.
Yeah.
Teach them well, let them lead the way.
Right.
Because I'll be damned if I'm 80 years old and I got some young kid, you know what I'm saying, ready to bust me upside my head because somebody didn't educate them on
Yeah.
being proper in life. You know
And
what I
then
mean?
you gain all this knowledge from life experience. What are you going to do with it?
What are you gonna do with it? You want somebody else? I love seeing younger people doing better than me.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
and being positive and doing positive things because it makes me breathe a little bit easier.
It's you make me think about one where I work at. My office is one of the first office you basically see as all the employees come through the double doors where we come, right? The employee entrance. I'm the first one you see. So I'm in the middle of everything.
Right.
And I have a lot of these young kids. I ran the security department for 6 months, and a lot of the young kids still come to me.
Mhm.
And I have conversation with them all the time. And like, just the one kid came to me last week. He's having a bad time and shit's going on at home, and just being able to give him advice about being there.
Right.
You can't,
Right.
I hear you. You love your family, but you can't let them bring you down. Like
Yeah.
you can't own their problem.
100%.
That's adult people. You help
Mhm.
them the best you can.
Mhm.
But if that help means that you get dragged down with them, you
You
can't
can
be.
do it.
You can't do it.
I have a real life experience dealing with that. I
Yeah.
was in Puerto Rico with a friend of mine, my homie Renell. Renell was like 300 pounds, something like
Yeah.
that. We go out in the ocean and go swimming, playing around.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know he couldn't swim.
Right.
And he ended up going a little too far out. And before you know it, he couldn't feel the sand on the bottom of his feet
Yeah.
anymore, and he panics.
Yeah.
Now, my ex girlfriend at the time, certified life, she swam in high school, team and everything like that. She was a certified lifeguard out there with him, trying to help, but he's panicking.
Yeah. And he's flailing. And, yeah.
She had to let him go because she got tired and she had to come back and save herself.
Yep.
There's another brother named Joey Conzo. He's a photographer, former firefighter, former police officer. He was the guy who was taking a bunch of pictures during the hip hop era from the 70s through
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well known from the Bronx to 10th
Yeah.
because he was a former firefighter. He jumped out there, went to go try to help my buddy Bradell. He came back like either him or me. I'm not, because he was struggling. I don't know how. It seemed like forever that he was out there, but everybody learned that he was out there struggling to get back. And we ended up doing like a human chain, and we went out there. We got him. We pulled him back
Pull
in.
him in.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But it was just
Point.
the point is you got to save yourself.
You gotta save
You
yourself.
can't let other people drag you down, and that's for some people that's a hard thing to
It's
deal with.
hard. It's hard because you love people.
Right.
You love people. They love you. You know that they love you.
Right. But everybody can't go.
Yeah.
Everybody cannot go.
You can't live your life for them.
And that's the thing too. Everyone has to do what they feels is necessary for themselves to be happy.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
I have a lot of those experiences. I mean, my family is a poor working class family, and a lot of people with young kids. I mean, yeah, I had kids when they were young,
right,
so not a whole lot of direction,
right, not a whole, right,
and just not bad people, right? But
not
just
bad.
not a whole lot of direction, a lot of bad decisions, a lot of woe is me because
Mhm.
because you don't know how to get out of situations, so you
Yep,
feel like the world's against you.
yep,
And I just had a lot of people pulling me the other direction, and not because they wanted to,
right,
right?
right.
And they loved me,
That's where that emotional intelligence come from. When you
right?
understand that it's not that person's intent.
Yeah, it's
You know
not.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's not an intent, right?
Not
But
at all.
but at some point you need to step away. I was just trying to explain to that kid at that point, just being able to share that life experience with a kid that probably doesn't have that in his life.
No, for real. And as a barber, I deal with that a lot. I
Yeah,
got a client who I've been cutting maybe the last 6 or 7 years, and he knows the exact date because that was the day he stopped taking Percocets
yeah,
when he was in my chair. And I remember one time he was, struggling. He had a daughter, has a daughter, and I forget exactly what the specific situation was, but he was crying, like he was really going through it. And I was able to talk to him, like, first of all, I got you by like 20 years, bro. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number one, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I understand the feelings that you have, but
Yeah.
do know that it will get better. You think it's and just being in the I'm blessed to be in a position to be able to say that to somebody through my life experiences and seeing
Yeah.
other people go through shit. And then knowing that, 5, 6, 7 years later, he's still like, yeah, I rock with you, not because of the haircut, but because of the conversation that we can have. You know what I'm saying? I definitely helped him through some things.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm some
Yeah.
saint or
Guru.
nothing like that.
Right.
Nothing like that. It's just,
Yeah.
I try to be a good person. If I can help in any kind of way I can, I will.
Right.
But I
And
don't,
why not?
and why not?
Why not?
And I also don't want to get lost in that because I still need to strive to continue to be a better person.
Right.
Period. Point blank.
Yeah.
I have a lot of angst towards a lot of famous people, which turns into angst towards the people that support and follow them because we're
Yeah.
supporting people because of some, image they uphold when they have the power and the finances and the influence rather to fix a lot of problems
Yeah.
that are going on. And I don't know if they choose to not do so or they don't recognize that they have this ability or power,
I think it's
but
I think it's most likely not recognizing and not being emotionally intelligent enough.
that too,
Again, back to that. Again, I don't think it's necessarily an intent, but we also try to put a lot on these young kids.
yeah.
They're basically kids in their 20s, most
Oh
of them.
man, for real. No, for real. I
But that
mean,
because they have a lot of money and exposure, that they're supposed to be a lot more advanced in their life to
right.
give that advice.
No, exactly.
That's a guy like LeBron James who basically does nothing wrong ever.
Right.
Who's been the straightest shooter ever.
Yeah.
Gets criticized for everything that he
Every
does.
little thing. That's so
Everything.
true. That's
Right?
so
And
true.
and is he right about everything? Of course he isn't. But
Right.
he literally has never made a real bad move ever.
No, not at all.
And he was a superstar by the time he was 15 years old.
Oh yeah, he was King James at 16. Yeah, he was the next,
Yeah, the next
the
Michael Jordan.
face of the NBA, the
Yeah.
whole nine, and he's doing some wonderful things out here, positive influence.
And
Yeah,
and
for
he's
sure.
and he still gets killed for every comment that's a little bit,
Yeah,
controversial.
yeah, and that's it sucks because that's the price of fame, I guess.
It is, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can with that being said, I can understand there are a lot of people who don't outwardly talk about the things they do for people
Right.
because you know
Right.
you're gonna
Yeah.
get criticized.
Yeah. That gets on one of my rants about these people that are on the internet now that are walking around with like $100 and they're fucking showing off about giving like some kid $100.
Right, right.
I just annoy. If you're trying to do something right, why has it got to be on video?
Why does it have to be on video? At the same time, though, I think some of those videos for some people cultivates it creates a culture of giving back that is not so hard to do.
Right.
But just like everything is about balance.
It's
You
about
know what I'm
balance.
saying?
I agree
Now,
with that.
I
Yeah.
would I would you can tell when it's genuine or not. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Yeah.
For example, I remember we had the riots in Philly after the George Floyd, situation.
Yeah.
And I saw a video of some people who would get out their car and just take pictures where the riots and stuff were going on or in front of certain things and then get right back in the car and then leave just to
Yeah.
say that they were there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's that clout thing. So some people definitely do it and they're very not genuine about why they're doing it. Then you have people who are doing it because they have actual organizations that are
Right.
like really trying to help people and this
Yeah.
is the way they show as you
Yeah.
can now. With that being said,
Or the kids coming from the suburbs and doing looting.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
come on, dude.
Don't we
Like
can go down a rabbit hole on that.
like I seen like and but see that's also weird too because without knowing the intent of the individual because
Yeah.
in modern time you may have a kid that's from anywhere is interested in anything and then really are really genuinely about that and then they
Right.
go to that place but because of the history and all type of stuff people
Yeah.
look at it like they're crazy. Like I seen a video of this white girl, she was over in Africa somewhere
Yeah.
and she's doing all these dances and stuff and she can dance, she do African dance, but everybody in that little village or town was looking at her like she was crazy.
Yeah.
And on one hand it looked like she was just what's the word, not pandering's not the word, but just kind of exploiting the fact that she knew these
Yeah.
dance that she was going to this place. It's like Another video I saw was a white girl. She hops out at Marcy Projects and she's doing all these hip hop dances. Yeah, she could dance, but it's like, why are you doing that at Marcy? You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah,
However, in her mind, she's probably paying homage to the place where, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
maybe. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
And you know, but who really knows at
yeah.
the
Who
end of the
knows?
day?
You're right.
You
You're
know what I
right.
mean?
You're right.
And, you know, my knee jerk reaction would be like, "The fuck are you?" Like, come
Yeah,
on
what are
now.
you doing? Yeah.
But when you think about it, you never know.
You
And
never know.
that's
You're
what's
right.
sad because her intent might be she might be at home drinking tea and eating crumpets with her family, listening to classical music and could care less about, you know, that whole culture, but know that she has the ability to do that dance, so she goes out in front of the projects
Right,
because
right,
she can.
right.
That could be the truth, or
For clickbait or whatever. Yeah,
for clickbait or whatever, or she could have literally grown up with friends or whatever
yeah.
from Marcy and learned these dances and just, you know,
Right. You never
who
know.
you never know. And I think that's what's dangerous about, you mentioned earlier, you know, people that kind of find their truth or whatever. And,
Yeah,
you know, but that's like I mentioned earlier in the living room, bro, it's about respect at the end of the
it is.
day. You
Right.
know, if we have enough respect for anyone to at least find out and ask the question like, what is this about? What are you doing?
Yeah, not take a soundbite and decide who they are as a human being.
Right.
Yeah, what they tried to do to Chappelle, but
Yeah.
fortunately for Chappelle, he's
Too smart for that. Yeah.
he's too smart for it. But
Yeah.
that's what they tried to do with the transgender thing with him. If I don't know if anybody has listened to that or watched that special, but it's not transphobic.
It's not transphobic at all. In fact, if anything, he helped people understand
How much
the
well,
trans situation
right,
more.
or how much he loved a person who was a
Right.
trans person.
And that's what you would want. I mean, but
Yeah.
you know,
Anyway.
people stand on it. People just want to be heard sometimes too. Like the whole arguing versus debating.
Yeah.
Some people just want negative shit because they want attention.
Yeah.
Like the Chris Rock recent special, and he's like, you know,
Yeah.
people are addicted to attention.
They are addicted to attention.
And it's sad because, you know, it's interesting because you can call out some things and people will defend it. And it's like, well, this is why it continues because you're defending some things that are not really supposed to be happening.
Right.
And people are doing these things that are not supposed to be happening for attention because it's shocking, because it's, you know, they jolting like, and it's, I'm not surprised at anything anymore.
No, it's hard to be.
It's hard. It is. And that said, man, it's like, you know, I feel bad for the kids, and I don't have kids, but I implore people that have kids to, yeah, go in their rooms, check their stuff, go on their phones, have the conversation, surprise them every once in a while with the conversation. Hey, check out your phone, see what you're looking at, and then have the conversation about why it's important to know. Because I don't know if you know about this song, but there's a song called Pound Town.
No.
Pound Town. And granted, it's the most raunchiest song I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And we had Luke and all that type of shit back in the day. We had Luke Campbell and
Right,
Two
right.
Live Crew and all type of stuff. But we also knew that there was a place for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We knew that we weren't supposed to listen to it. Yeah, this stuff is like, you can find it on the internet.
Yeah.
And Pound Town is horrible. Then there's another one, I think it's called Slut Me Out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these are like popular songs. Pound Town is by a girl, Slut Me Out is by a guy. And Slut Me Out, the girl that sings Pound Town is in this. And the opening lines of Pound Town, I would not say. I'll just, anyone who's listening, just go check it out.
Yeah.
And if you've never heard of the song before and you hear it and you have children,
Yeah.
just understand that there's so much out there that you may not be aware of that your children love.
Right.
As an former aftercare teacher, as someone who loves the children, and have conversations with kids, and you kind of discover what they're into and what they're listening to.
Yeah.
Please do due diligence.
Just shout out to Two Live Crew. John, me and my buddy John Clark, who had a gold Camaro.
Oh my God.
1992-93.
Come on. I could just imagine.
Fucking with two 15-inch subwoofers in his fucking trunk. That you could hear that thing from a mile away.
I believe it.
Pop that pussy, pop that. I want to ask you some advice questions. Mm-hmm. Tell me about advice you would have for the 18-year-old version of you.
Oh, damn. The advice I would have for the 18-year-old version, don't be afraid. If you're afraid of something, do it anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could be honest and say, man, in hindsight, there's so many things I didn't do because I was worried about, like you said earlier, worried about not being cool.
Yeah, you know worried about doing the right thing.
All of that, you know, like, man, just do it. And then also be more disciplined and have a plan.
Yeah.
Hindsight being 2020, It's one of my favorite phrases because it's so real. Like I go back to just 16 years ago, and the things that I was attempting to do, trying to do, and my discipline wasn't always there. I didn't just stick with it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I didn't just push through and pursue. That's one thing. Just it didn't have a plan. I
Yeah.
recognize also in the various places I lived, I've always thrived when I knew I had to get it done.
Yeah.
Like when I flunked out of school, went back to school,
Yeah.
and I was going part time. I was working, going part time, and it got to a point where I was like, "Damn, let me calculate how long it would take me to graduate at this rate." And the time that they told me was just too. I didn't want to be in school for that much longer. So I said, "Okay." So my plan came, and when I had the plan in front of me, I was able to attack that plan and
Yeah.
accomplish that goal much
Yeah.
faster. So yeah, if I was able to talk to my 18-year-old self, yeah, don't be afraid to do everything. You know what I'm saying? Make more decisions and develop a goal and then set plans to achieve that goal
What do you think
and
the
save money.
and save money?
Shit,
Uh,
invest. Oh my god! But I think
yeah.
everyone who comes from a quote unquote poor situation and have anybody who was into money and understood
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because yeah, it's easy to look back and say, "Damn, if I'd have saved up $5,000 for a down payment on one of these houses when we had the dollar house program back in the day." Jesus
Uh,
Christ, South Philly, come on, man.
listen. I remember being in Westchester in 96, 97, and those big like fraternity houses, which are
Mhm.
like 8 bedroom houses,
Right.
3,000 square foot houses, downtown Westchester.
Hmm.
They were going for like 250 grand.
Come on, man.
I said
Come
a
on.
$250,000. Yeah, fucking people are crazy.
Come on, man. How
I
much are they
mean,
worth now?
uh, I
Shit.
mean they're $1 million houses.
Yeah,
I mean,
easily.
easy. Yeah,
Easily. And you're guaranteed your money because you're gonna have these come on,
yeah.
man.
I mean, just
I mean, you can't tell the future.
no, you can't. But unwise decision. But the thing you do know about future is that there's almost real estate always values,
Yeah, no, for sure.
except
No,
for
for sure.
in small pockets.
For
But
sure.
yeah, but
But
in any event, I mean, what I didn't know.
oh my God.
I mean, what I didn't know. Just a small amount of money. Listen, if I could have just had a couple $100 to invest in Apple.
Come on. I mean, come on, man. And that's the thing. It's like that's why, part of me is amazed that as humans, we don't evolve into a better place now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But I also get that, you can tell somebody all day long, but people have to have their own experiences.
yeah. That's my frustration with humanity is that we now have evidence and we know we have a history and we can see things that have happened in the past and we continue to make the same
Same
mistake.
mistake over and over and over. Right. That's what I mean.
And
Like,
it's like it feels like it's a cycle.
right.
And I understand why 80-year-old, 90-year-old people just get frustrated with the world.
Yes. I'm starting to realize that.
Right? I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm still optimistic.
But we can see.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have enough experience, enough many years. Damn, dude, we about to be 50 soon, bro.
50,
Like
50 years old.
oh my God.
Fuck, dude.
And granted, that's not old,
No, it's
but
not.
it's also I think it seems crazy because of us jumping into one era to another.
Yeah.
We're the bridge
Yeah.
generation. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the computer situation. Like we're still young. We can still do young things. We can still do fun things. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Things our parents just cannot fathom. We're just like I kind of get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time, we're starting to recognize some of these things that we're just like totally disconnected from,
Yeah.
and we can kind of foresee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have so much information that can kind of give us a
Yeah. I mean, we're in the second
oh,
half. We're in the second half.
oh, we definitely are. It's the closing minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah.
No,
No.
no, sorry, closing minutes of the second quarter going into
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was maybe not. I think we're
No.
coming out of
No.
halftime,
Coming
bro.
out of halftime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We're in the opening
Yeah.
minutes of the
The
third
third quarter.
quarter.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, for
How about
sure.
what would the 18-year-old version of you think of 46-year-old you?
You know what? The 18-year-old version of me would have probably been mad at the 38 or 39-year-old version,
Okay.
right? But pretty cool with the 46-year-old version.
Yeah.
Because one thing I'm realizing is I think we all get this picture, this picture that's painted that you're supposed to do certain things at a certain time
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like I mentioned before, I don't have kids.
Right.
It doesn't bother me, but it does bother me. because I do want a legacy. You know what I'm saying? And the older I get, the more difficult it's going to be
Yeah.
to find someone to have kids with, because I'm not trying to. I can't be messing with no babies out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
however, I definitely am getting to a place where I live my life,
Right.
and I recognize there are plenty of people out here whose life I would think I would want to have,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of people out here who would love to have my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Frank Sinatra, it's like I did it my way.
Yeah.
And through the ups and downs, like
Yeah.
what is the most fun thing at a music park? The roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
The ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, would the 18-year-old version be proud of me? To be honest with you, I'm gonna say no. Reason I'm gonna say no is because the 18-year-old version of me didn't understand what life was about. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't understand what the
Yeah.
42-year-old version should be doing or whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the way I have said it too. Is that I think that the 18-year-old version of me would think I was a dork.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
But I don't think he would be proud or unproud of me because I don't think he could
Exactly.
conceive of the person that I've become.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, I was looking at the yearbook the other day, once it passed away or whatever. I was just looking at it and just thinking
Yeah.
about what was said in the yearbook
Yeah.
and what you think you're going to do. And
Yeah.
I told myself that I wanted to be a business person because I just wanted to have some money. I
Yeah.
didn't know, I didn't have anything specific.
Right.
And looking back, it's like, you know what? I could have easily been a barber right out of high school.
Right. Yeah.
Something I enjoy doing. I could, and there are some people who don't realize how much barbers make and can potentially make.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, yeah,
It's gonna be a great life.
it's a great trade, and I wish I'd have focused on it a little bit more
Right.
earlier.
Right.
But I'm happy to be able to, do it now. But that being said, it's like, at 18 years old, I had this idea of what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I kind of did that. That's why I went back to college. You know what I'm saying? Just go
Right.
walk across. That's what you're supposed to do. That's
Right.
why I took a job at the Washington Post and New York Times. These are jobs that could potentially be careers. But while I was working those jobs, it wasn't satisfying me.
Yeah. You're not happy.
I wasn't happy at all. Like
Yeah.
I hated that shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was much happier, working twice as hard doing something I enjoyed, which was cutting hair and playing music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, if the 18-year-old version of me understood that, then he'd be proud of the
Right.
46-year-old version of me. But
Right.
knowing who I was at 18, nah, they'd be like, nah. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Can you give me the best advice you ever had or really good advice somebody gave you?
Typically, when I think about that, I can go back to say maybe not the best advice, but I can go back to something that my father told me that kind of gave me a different outlook. Indirectly made me a better person. And that was my father's Muslim.
Yeah.
So he once said something along the lines of, if God is omnipotent, all powerful, all seeing, and all of that, why would he have to send somebody in human form to talk about what needs to be talked about?
Right.
Now, I'm not a religious person. I don't practice
Yeah.
anything, but it just made me think. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I can go back that made me think the most
Right.
about something.
Right.
And because of that, I wasn't attracted to Christianity specifically,
Right.
but it also made me look into religions from a different standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it allowed me to
Question.
question a whole bunch of stuff. And
Yeah.
because I questioned a lot of things, it allowed me to be curious about things, to delve into this, to delve into that,
Yeah.
and also have a respect for others, because that was a perspective that honestly went against what most people think of in the mainstream. People
Right.
accept Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That's a household name. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
regardless of where you're from, like in our culture, especially in America, it's about Jesus Christ. So
Right.
when you hear something like that, it makes you question, like, okay, so it made me more of a thinker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it necessarily wasn't advice, but it also made me a little more cautious about the things that I got into.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So
do. Yeah.
when like certain moves that I made in my life, I thought about them before I actually did it.
Right. Because you're questioning.
Because I would question, why would I want to do this? Why would that be good? Why would that be, not be good or whatever?
And just
So
because everybody says it's to be true doesn't mean it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it wasn't necessarily advice, but that's the one thing I could think of that kind of stands out in my life.
I know you're not a parent, but what advice would you give parents if you had anything? Any advice?
I had plenty of advice for parents because even though I'm not a parent, I had the experience of thinking I was a parent for a few months.
Yeah.
Some girl tried to trap me, making me think that her child was mine.
Oh boy.
That was crazy. It was a major setback too. And my ex-girlfriend has 3 kids,
Yeah.
and when I was with her, they were 4, 6, and 9.
Okay.
They are now 18, 20, and 23, 24.
Okay.
So I still consider them like my
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
indirectly.
Yeah.
Love them to death. And the advice I would give is to communicate and listen to your children. Why? Because in this internet age, they have a lot of information. They know a lot more things than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
And we're no longer in the do as I say type because I said so era. So I would say listen to your children. However, explain to them because they're capable of understanding
Yeah.
when you break things down. Explain to them why it is you're doing what you're doing, saying what you're doing, all type of stuff.
Right.
You have to keep that authority. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You got to keep that authority because you just can't let your kids do whatever the hell they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because they
Yeah.
don't know shit.
I'm the boss in a relationship, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve respect and an explanation.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the way you have better employees.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but not that my kids are employees, right? There's an emotional relationship attached, but
100%.
they're human beings. They deserve an explanation. You brought them into this damn world.
Mhm.
They didn't ask to be here,
Right.
so you do owe them more than they owe you.
100%. Oh yeah.
I think people forget that
I
sometimes.
think children don't owe you anything
Yeah, I think that's right.
because that's a major guilt. Like, dude, if you have to take care of one of your parents, that's a major burden. Like,
Yeah,
parents are supposed to be set up to where you know what I'm saying.
they don't owe you anything. It's hard. That's a hard thing for parents to accept, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And think about, and this is what's so sad, especially in this modern era, that we have a lot of single motherhood,
yeah.
and a lot of these women see their child interested in baseball, football, basketball, and now they'll bust their ass to get their kids back and forth, just hoping that they'll become the star, not realizing that it probably won't happen.
Well, I mean, the chance of it happening is like hitting the lottery.
It seriously, it's like, so every mom not gonna be Kevin Durant mom, every mom not gonna be Allen Iverson's mom,
Yeah.
where they have this situation and their kid grows up and gets, it's not happening.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that is that that's always been an inner city dream,
Mhm.
right? And you know what's hysterical about that is that the middle class, upper middle class, suburban culture is caught up in that now
Caught up in it.
and they're spending a lot of money
Yeah.
chasing that dream that doesn't exist.
It does.
It's not a real dream. Listen again, the point the 0.1% of the kids that play are going to be great.
Right.
But you've been around you're around sports enough. You can see who those are. Those kids stand out from the time they're 12 years old.
This is what I said to someone in the barbershop. And when it comes down to it, I would never, like, I have a cousin. My cousin is a couple years older than me, and her grandson is like 10. And
Yeah.
he's good at sports. He enjoys sports. And I'm saying, well, he shouldn't strive to be a sports athlete. He shouldn't strive to be. He should strive to be the best athlete that he is and the best at whatever he does.
Right.
And if he happens to be better than everyone else and it becomes natural and he just naturally gravitates towards the point where he could potentially become,
Whatever. Get a scholarship.
scholarship or whatever,
Yeah.
boom. Yeah. And I think it's possible to strive to get the scholarship. I think it's possible to navigate and say, hey, I'm but so good, but I can make sure that, you know what I mean? Like, when you're good enough to get a
Yeah.
scholarship for college.
Right.
But the NBA, MLB, NFL dream is a dream because it's much. I was just watching something before I came over here. Ben Simmons, his whole history. Something I didn't realize is that the LSU coach was his godfather. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right.
So that's
Yeah.
why he went to LSU, and he was able to hide. Like, he wasn't as good as people thought he was.
No, he was a super. He was super athletic.
Super athletic. When your dad played in the league and played Oklahoma City, whatever he played at, and you're in Australia, like it's a different culture.
Well, that's the other thing too. So you need that superior athleticism and you need desire.
And you need desire. And he didn't have to have desire because it was all set up for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when the shit hits the fan and you get into the league, you can play because you're athletic.
Right.
But if you don't have the desire, now what happens? Now
No,
now you're not balling, and now you allowing all this. Like, he didn't care about the game. So I say that to say this: advice for parents and their children: make sure they understand to be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Happiness doesn't come from things. Happiness comes from experiences. You know what I'm saying? Happiness comes from the ups and downs of life. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
often say it takes the rain and the sun to make the flowers grow.
Yes, sir.
Caterpillars go through a whole hard, difficult time before they become beautiful butterflies. You
Yeah.
have to go through some type of struggle to appreciate the rough time. You know what I mean? To appreciate the good times. You know what I mean? So
I believe in that wholeheartedly. I mean,
it's true.
I don't believe that you need to go live in squalor,
Right.
but
Right.
you need to have real struggle
Real,
and understand what it is.
I mean, the difference between a child, just imagine, I mean, if anyone has logical sense, if you're rich and you never have to worry about anything, would you want your child to go see or go serve food at a homeless shelter or something like that, just to see what could potentially happen?
Yeah.
Because let's take this, what is the epidemic that we have right now, the opioid epidemic we have right now,
Yeah.
K&A and the whole nine.
Yeah.
There are stories where you have someone who in high school played sports, broke their leg.
Yep.
They go to the hospital.
Yep.
They give them Oxycontin. They give them Percocets.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're stuck on that because
Yep.
it feels good. And now they outside.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that the addiction is a real disease. You know what I'm saying? So,
It's
and
real.
now they're just viewed as, oh, you're just a junkie. No, it happened because I got hooked on pills because I got
Yeah.
injured in high school.
Right.
So,
or you know, you were at work, you had some low back injury,
right.
and at the time, doctors were giving 90 pills out.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
90
saying.
pills.
So if you don't have the experience to be around someone and hear that story,
Yeah.
you probably think, oh, you're just a junkie because you want to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
oh, the choices you like.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. And I don't get too caught up in the Republican Democrat thing
Yeah.
because when we were growing up, Democrats are great and Republicans were just bad. But it's not. That's not the case. I think that is such a blurred line. Like
Yeah, that's borderline.
it's crazy. Like you have bad. I think both sides are bad. But you know that's a whole other conversation for another podcast. But
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know these kids have to see a variety of things and see the good and the bad, and then with all the information that these kids have, they're much more advanced than what we were when we were their age.
Yeah.
So we have to give them that respect
Yeah.
and give them a little bit of real talk and say, hey, think about it. This is
There's-
what will happen if you do this, and this is what will happen if you do
yeah,
that.
and intellectually they're smarter because they have experience, they have more
Information, right?
information, but emotionally they're not.
Emotionally, they're not.
They're
They're
just
not.
not.
They're really not.
They're stunted because they don't have to have real relationships. They don't have to have these conversations that we're having right now.
Right. So I think
they don't even know how to have them.
They don't know how to have them. So I think it's very important that parents make sure, you know, have respect for the fact that the kids live a different world than we live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's talking to our age, you know what I'm saying? Because at 30 you had the internet.
Yeah,
a little bit more. You know, we didn't have it at all at one point. I think 30-year-olds may have had the very, very, very tail end of life without the, you know what I'm saying?
Not really. They didn't have it. No, because I mean, think about it. It really. We remember we had the intranet when we entered college when they started with it.
Yeah, the Pine system and all that.
Yeah, so by the time we were out of college, by the time 97, 98 came around, the internet was there.
It was definitely there. So yeah, if you was born in 86, you're
Right.
10 years old in 96.
Right, you don't know it, you know.
Yeah, so they're stuck in it.
I mean, early 2000s with cell phones, I've had the same number for, I think since I left Westchester, was it like 98, 99?
Yeah, bro. I definitely have the same number from 99.
Right, so we had cell phones since 98 or 99.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
But the way social media is totally way more advanced. And I think
it's way different. Yeah. It's the Facebook changed everything. It was the game changer.
Yeah, iPhones and Facebook for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, well, with that being said, you know, the question was, you know, what advice would you have for parents towards children? You know, communicate.
Yeah.
Teach them respect, teach them to be happy, you know, in short. And they'll do the research. You know what I mean? If your kid's inquisitive enough, they'll do the research. They oh my goodness. From what I see from kids, because I get to talk to kids from a different perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of parents are naive to what their kids could possibly be doing and what they know, because a lot of kids are smart enough to give you the quote unquote politically correct answer to certain things and say what they know they're supposed. That's why I said to young and early, I was like, it's an opportunity for you to keep it real right now. If you go to school and you enjoy just being around your friends, and say that. You know what I mean? Don't give me the what my parents want to hear me say type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think real communication and respect, you know, it's a dangerous thing because you don't want to give them so much respect.
Right.
That they think they know everything, you know what I'm saying? Because they're not emotionally mature enough to deal with that.
You're still the boss.
Still the boss. So you have to, it's a thin line, but you have to establish the fact that you're the boss. Give them, I'll give it to you this way. Karis One, a rapper from, 80s or whatever, he was interviewed by a young girl who's like 10. She does interviews with famous
Oh
people.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he basically said, as it stands today, which is a very important preface to what he said, because it's a different time. We're in the modern era. He said young people have to learn from old people, old people have to learn from young people. And a young person who learns from an old person will be fast amongst the youth, and an old person who learns from the young people will be fast amongst the old people.
It's sage. Yeah, it's great advice.
It's great because it's a different era now, and
Yeah.
we had to not be stuck in our era and how we came up and recognize that information is out there.
Yeah,
And these kids know things,
and they know things that we don't know. There's no
right?
question.
Because listen, I'll tell you, let your kid walk into the barbershop. I'm keeping it real with them. I
Yeah.
have a couple kids. Matter of fact, Wesley's cousin's nephews. Wesley had a friend named Edison. He used to come up to Bloomsburg all the time.
Yeah.
When we were there, and I ended up cutting Edison's nephews. And I found that out when Wesley came past the barbershop. They were there. Oh, what's up? Blah, blah. So because of that, because of me and Wesley's connection, I always kept an extra eye out and I just keep it real with them all the time. And I used to, during the pandemic, I was cutting hair at my house. And I heard them talking about certain things, talking about girls, talking about sneakers, talking about these different things, which on one hand, I get it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, because I get it, hey, don't focus so much on the sneakers. Focus on your academics. Don't focus so much on girls because they get you caught up. All that type of stuff. Trying to give them information that I wish most kids had.
Right.
Long story short, they were twins. One of them coming to the barbershop on crutches in the cast. I'm like, what happened to you, bro? Oh man, long story. His twin brother says, oh, he got shot. I'm like, what? So now I'm serious. I'm like, wait a minute. Shot? What happened?
Yeah.
There was a murder down here in South Philly. He was walking with a white kid, as a matter of fact. The white kid got murdered. I don't know the context of if if there was some type of beef or whatever, random or whatever. But he told me this had happened. And what bothered me was the fact that he was like, oh no, it's good. Like he was okay. Like, and I'm like, do you really understand like that, how traumatic that situation is? You were walking with someone, they start shooting at y'all, your friend gets killed, you got shot, and now you're talking about it's okay. Then he proceeds to tell me that he's about to have a kid. He's 17, about to have a kid.
Yeah.
And I specifically had a conversation. I said, dude, I know you're getting older, wear your condoms.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We can't sit here and act like kids are not going to be interested in sex. That's a natural thing. Your body goes, you know what I'm saying? But educate them on what to do and what not to do. You know what I'm saying? And I told this kid who I don't have any type of responsibility over or nothing, like he's not my family. I'm like, dude, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Wear your condoms or whatever case is, because, and I tried to give it to him logic, like, you don't want to have to take care of something when you're young. You want to live your life and have fun.
Live your life. Yeah.
You understand? Things happen, but you don't want to have a kid at a young age.
Everything stops.
Everything stops. You're not rich.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you have money for an au pair and stuff like that, whatever.
Okay.
Even then, it won't make sense because you still have to worry about this child if you care about. But it was just a shame because it just reminded me that you can talk to people.
Yeah. Well, but again, it's the same thing with family, right? You can't live their life for them.
You just cannot. And to keep yourself sane, I say this all the time to people: you can't be good for nobody else if you're not good for yourself.
100%.
You know what I mean? And it's not selfish. I heard this from a Yana Van saying, it's not selfish, it's self-full. It's making sure that you're taken care of, because if you're a genuine person, you're going to look out for other people. But if I got to take a step back and make sure I'm good, I can't give a fuck about nobody else.
I mean, I don't even care if they call it selfish, but you're no good unless you have unless you're taking care of yourself.
100%.
I mean, you just can't. And that was hard. That was hard for me to learn, because I wanted to be like the patriarch. And I still consider myself in a lot of ways, because my dad and grandfather passed away, at the patriarch, and at least on my dad's side of the family.
Right.
Because we still, but the younger kids, all my cousins come to me for advice, and I have parties in the I'm the big party thrower. Mm-hmm. But again, the minute that it interferes with my nuclear family here, I love you, but peace.
Hey, listen,
I mean, I don't know. There's no other way to do it.
Respect is greater than love. It really is. You can love somebody, but you gotta respect. Like in that situation, I would have to respect. Like if I was your family member, I gotta respect that. I love you. I respect you because I love you, and I love you because I respect you. All that.
How about? Do you have a person who you feel like was most impactful in your life?
The person the most. I do. I'm gonna say the most impactful person in my life is the person I consider my god brother. His name is John Wright. And I say that because he's always been around.
Yeah.
Even when I was like 4 or 5. My earliest memories is so the history of it is my mother was remarried. She my stepfather's son. So I had a stepbrother,
Okay.
much older than me. When I was in middle school, he was in college. He was going to Temple or whatever. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. I was in middle school, elementary school rather. He was at Bartram.
Okay.
His best friend at the time, his name is John Wright. So John's always been around. Now, when my mother got divorced from my stepfather, that whole situation split, and Eric, my stepbrother, lost contact with him. Now, this is a person who, now I was young, I was little. My older brother has more memories than I do of this. But he always said he'll be there for us, it's that third, but he just kind of like disappeared. You
Disappeared.
know what I mean? I'm older now, so I get it.
Yeah.
But he went to Temple Medical School, is a brain doctor, surgeon, whatever case is, had a whole life. Because I was young, I would love to see him, like, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, his best friend at the time, John, has always been around, though. Never, like, not been around. He was at my high school graduation. He was there when I graduated college, you know what I'm saying? And in fact, when I flunked out of Bloomsburg, that's the person I lived with.
Okay.
Now, the reason he's most impactful is because he didn't allow me to settle for less.
Yeah, good.
When I flunked out of Bloomsburg, I came down there. He gave me a place to stay, but he was also like, dude, you need to get a job or do something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm 19, I'm 20. And I'm like, just gonna give me a job at Domino's or something like that, Burger King. And he's like, no, get a real job. So I ended up getting my first real job, which was at the Four Seasons Hotel.
Okay.
I didn't realize it, but at the time, I was making great money, had all kinds of crazy benefits, and it's at a prominent place called that I could have grown there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's important to note that he never held my hand in anything. He just kind of nudged me and guided me in certain directions. And then when I made my mistakes, he allowed me to make my mistakes and then educated me on it afterwards. So I think experience is the greatest teacher. He could have told me certain things, but it wouldn't have had the same impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me go through it and deal with it, then he'll tell me this is what you missed.
But he was still there for you.
Man, 100%. I can call him right now and be like,
Yeah.
dude, I need your help right now. And he will pick up the phone and whatever. So
Awesome.
he's probably the most impactful person, you know what I'm saying, in that regard, because of the fact that he didn't have to do any of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my older brother gave me plenty of advice, loving to death and stuff like that. I got other people in my family, but for someone to make the choice to
Be a part of your life.
be a part of my life and want the best for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've worked for him. He's a caterer. He's one of the best caterers in DC. I've had so many experiences with him, from meeting so many famous people through his catering service and stuff like that. And he's always remained humble. And again, no matter what I need, like I remember he got me my first, like I said, the Four Seasons job. He's the one that nudged me towards that, but he got me my first real job at the Washington Post because he used to work there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I applied, he said, "Do not tell anybody that you know me." Because when he left out of there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he wasn't like very well by everybody, but he was like, make sure you don't tell anybody. But he made sure I was taken care of and looked out for, and he didn't have to.
Yeah.
At all. So yeah, he's probably the most impactful person that I could think of in my life. There's a lot of people that had played a major part in my life. You know what I'm saying? I can't deny that.
Yeah.
Whether it's friends and like shit, Gamp in general.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone there, and I can literally say everyone there played an important part in my life personally. You know what I'm saying? And not to switch gears, but I kind of thought about this, like the people that we haven't talked to since graduation. Like the Jason Rosanos of the world.
I actually saw Jason a few times over the years.
Really?
He's doing really well. He's
good.
He's in South Jersey. He has a family. He's like an executive at like a marketing firm or something like that.
That's what's up. And it's crazy because,
Michael Ritchie is a person I haven't seen a day since we left.
Really? I haven't seen him. I think I talked to him like once on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
But the Jason Rosano, I use that example because from my perspective, he just like disappeared.
Yeah, he did.
As if he just like ran away.
It was on purpose, actually.
And it makes sense because when you're dealing with knowing somebody from kindergarten through 12th grade and such a small school and family, it's like it could be a number of things.
Yeah.
I need to get away from this, or I'm just so upset that I had to leave this.
Yeah,
it's just, you know what I mean? So you have to totally separate yourself from it.
I don't speak out of turn for him, but it was on purpose because of things.
I could totally believe that.
Yeah.
And I totally understand, especially being
and it wasn't any of us.
Right. None, and I'm sure that's the thing. being emotionally intelligent. Like
Yeah.
I can look back and see that there was a point in time where I felt like, damn, like, come on, bro. Like we was bros in school,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now we don't hear from you at all. But some people
Yeah.
need to do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Who
yeah.
there's another person I don't see much of who I know listens to this podcast, and it's Justin Cristenziani, who's still my boy.
Haha, just
Everybody loves Justin, but Justin just he's got busy with life, and that's all.
but he, you know how I ran. I'm about to say ran into it. That's the power of this internet technology. But
Yeah.
Facebook, I saw Nick DiMatteo.
Yeah, Nick just showed up again.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think he's in Florida
No,
or
Texas,
Texas.
Texas.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
down south. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's just good to see him, dude.
yeah.
Like
Me
just
too. Yeah,
not even talking to him, just to see him
doing
and to see his
well.
kids look like him, doing well, looking
Yeah,
healthy, looking
yeah,
happy, married, and all type of stuff.
yeah,
And but that's a testament to our school. Like
yeah,
again, not the believer, the whole emotional intelligence thing. Like
yeah,
we understand that. Like the fact that we're sitting here doing this podcast right now
yeah.
is dope because I know it's deeper than just. I know you're not doing this to be internet famous and YouTube famous.
No,
It's
no.
conversations.
I
You know
want
what
to
I'm
have
saying?
conversations,
Right,
man.
exactly.
I mean, it's but all the things that we've been talking about is really why I'm doing this podcast. First, because I like asking questions, and it's something I'm good at, and I just want to talk to people and
Right.
have regular conversations and realize that all of us really just all want the same thing, and we might come from different places, and we
Yep.
had similar experiences, and we feel the similar way about things. We might come out in a different perspective, but we all want the fucking same thing.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, we all do, and
Yeah,
it's the human experience, and
yeah,
like I have some friends who will be considered extreme in their
views.
views,
Yeah, same.
politics, whatever the case is, and I respect and I understand it from this perspective.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'll tell people, man, that pendulum swings too far either way. It's not good.
No, listen, I mean, that's why I'm done with politics just in general, because it's literally the 10% on each side that had the biggest
That's
mouths,
it.
and no real people believe any of that.
That's it. That's it.
None of us do.
There's so many things. It's a shame because in this world that we live in right now, such
Yeah,
a ones and zeros, black or white type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Is one. If I say I don't like, if I say, hey, Trump made sense with this. Oh my God, you're a Trump supporter.
right,
No, he made sense with this one point. Like truth is truth. Like
right.
regardless,
Truth is truth.
you always have one side, the other
That's what
side, the other
Chappelle said
truth.
about him.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
and people don't take the time nowadays because we live in such a microwave society. People don't take time to do the research and understand where somebody's coming from. People
yeah,
read the headlines, think they know the
yeah,
whole story, and I think that's part of it. I think that's the group of people who are above the wealthy. I think it benefits them the most
it does.
because all the lies and all the deception. Like this, competition fuels capitalism.
Yep.
This is why you have an opposite of everything. Nike, Adidas, you know what I'm saying? Pepsi, Coke, everything has an opposite side to. You have
Yeah,
all this competition, but the person who has the leather and the rubber to make these sneakers is winning. When
right.
you have a war going on, the person that's making money is the person that makes the bullets and the guns.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
There's always a winner and a loser.
always a winner. The person that owns the cola nut wants Pepsi and Coke because some people will drink Pepsi just because it's opposite of
Oh,
somebody else who likes something. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
because.
yeah.
So
We were just talking about like losing connection with people from high school and stuff, and over the past year, we've had a couple of people pass away.
oh man, yeah. Yeah.
How's that? Yeah,
It sucks.
yeah.
It
Just
sucks
how's it
big
make
time.
you feel? Is about it.
It makes me feel, extremely sad sometimes. Other times it makes me realize that, life is life. Cherish,
Yeah,
everything, while you can. Cause Ivan, man, I'm emotional now.
yeah,
But Ivan passing was rough because I just saw him a week before. A
yeah,
week. I talked to him a week and a half before he
yeah,
passed,
yeah,
and I actually saw him maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to that.
yeah,
And he will come to shows. He'll hit me up and be like,
yeah,
"Yo, bro, peace, brother. Oh, what are you doing? What's going
yeah,
on?" And I'll be in town, and I'll be like, it's crazy because I kind of avoided him for a little bit.
yeah,
It's one of those things when you have people that that you kind of have to avoid because of stuff that they're into,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
the quick history, we were housemates at one point, bro,
yeah.
and you know what I'm saying, God rest the dead, but he was popping his pills and stuff like that or whatever
Yeah.
the case is. And it's just like, come
Going
on, man,
through it.
get
Yeah.
better for yourself. But
Right.
that's my friend, it's family. So it's always like I gotta still stick around
Yeah.
and try to look out for him as best as I can.
Right.
But I'm like we mentioned earlier, you still gotta take care of yourself first.
You gotta take care of
So there
yourself.
was a point in time where I just like, all right, when he hit me up, it's like I'm gonna try, I can't try to keep up with him, whatever. He'll ask to borrow a couple of dollars here and there, yeah, yeah. But that was maybe a couple years ago. So recently when he was hit me up, it was less of that and more of, yo, what you doing? I'm gonna come through. All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm performing here. Then I'll see him in the crowd, like, oh, that's what's up. He's a little bit, you give a little head nod or whatever.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I said something underneath your post the other day. Just no matter what he was going through, though, he was um,
Always,
always
always.
a positive person.
No, for sure. It's
Yeah.
interesting because like Wesley took it super hard because him and Wes were really, really tight outside after school.
Yeah.
So they hung out, a lot, but they did a lot of dirt. You know what I'm saying? They did a lot of, post high school, learning, figuring yourself out type dirt. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it came to me and Ivan, all of our conversations are always on some positive stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? On
Yeah.
some different type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew, but he was locked up at one point in time,
Yeah.
and I would write letters back and forth. You know what I'm saying? He told me that helped him out a lot or whatever.
Yeah.
And then years after that, he was paralyzed because he jumped into the pool on the wrong end. It was like 2 feet or whatever, crushed his spine. And I remember seeing him, paralyzed and seeing him kind of rehab through that. When we became housemates, he was he's able to walk, he's able to drive on his own and stuff like that. So he kind of rehabbed, but I still wanted to see him do more.
Yeah.
Anyway, with all that being said, in the more recent months, I would say I've seen him more in the last 6 months than I've seen him in the last 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
So he will always pop up to the show. I'll see him in the crowd filming or whatever. Then he'll see him in the videotape, but then he'll disappear afterwards. I'm like, yo, what's up? You cool? Oh, I had to get out of there. I left, went back home. And he was staying outside the city. And he would, without fail, at least once every at least 3 weeks, he'll hit me up. What you got going on?
Yeah.
And so I was actually in LA with the band, and his cousin and I are frat brothers. So his cousin hit me up. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, LA time. And when I got up, I finally hit him back like, yo, I'm out in LA. What's going on? And he was like, yeah, Ivan passed. And I'm just like, shit just stopped. You know what I mean? For a moment,
Yeah.
it just stopped because I just saw him. You know what I mean? I just communicated with him. So that was definitely a rough one. But then you also had, other people from school that passed away, like Anna Bryant. I don't know if you remember her, but she was in
Yeah.
ninth grade, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
she passed of an aneurysm, well, complications after an aneurysm. Me and Wes were talking about this. We have a lot of people from Ghent that passed. You know what I mean? Go back to Leandra Esposito, Rich
Yeah.
Williams, you know what I mean? Ranisha Gilbert. A lot of people have passed, from Ghent. And it's always rough. And it's also rough to know, like, Michael Warren, his mother passed away. I was there, when that happened. I was there when Julius's father passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have plenty of friends who lost their parents and stuff.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the age thing. Like, damn, we're not immortal. It's going to
Yeah.
happen.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily, like, it gets easier, but it doesn't get easier.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's easier because you just reminded that it's going to happen. But it depends on the circumstance and the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Yeah.
you know, when Anna passed, I just felt extremely bad for her mom. She was the only child.
Yeah.
I felt extremely bad for her mom. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing that she had to deal with that. Um, when Mike Warren's mom passed, it was just like, damn, I feel bad for Mike, and just we have to go through, and just what I'm saying, him having kids of his own, and not
Yeah.
be, what I mean, just just simple fact that these people they don't come back.
Yeah. It's over. That's
It's
it.
over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I almost forgot. Like it was crazy because September 4th, my little cousin, 19 years old, got murdered,
Yeah.
and that kind of changed me completely to the point where I carry a gun now.
Yeah.
Not because I'm not like that at all, but I never want to get caught in a situation where I need to use one.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
And that's a sad reality for almost everybody in Philadelphia.
Yeah. It is.
And the reality is when you learn how to use a gun and you go get one and somebody who's responsible like myself, you go learn about, gun safety and the rules behind it, bro. The opportunity for a person to protect themselves with a gun is slim to none, bro. Because if somebody's gonna rob you and you got your gun on you, we're
Yeah.
not trained to pull our gun like military style, cop style, and be
Well,
mindful of that type
and
shit.
and not only that, but they have the upper hand because they know when they're attacking.
They know when they're attacked, we don't know, right? So
Right.
there's a huge responsibility in that. So I highly doubt that I will ever have to use a gun, even if it was a situation where, let's say, it was just hypothetically some type of mass shooter going on, and
Yeah.
I have my gun. I would not. I'll be afraid to kill somebody. Period. I don't care what them. I'm not.
Yeah.
People talk that shit all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
if I was them and nope, no. I would rather have my ass beat with my gun on me before I have the opportunity to pull my gun out and shoot somebody because
Right.
I can't think of too many situations that I could be in where I need my gun.
Right.
So that being said, life is precious,
Yeah.
and I understand that fully. So when my cousin was murdered, it's just like, yo, like this gun violence thing is ridiculous, and the part that hurts the most is that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
At 19 years old, you shouldn't have to, you don't have a person 19 years old die in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's just tragic.
It's tragic. So, death doesn't get any easier. The death of a person that's your age that you went to high school with, graduated high school with, that sucks big time because it reminds you of how life is precious, how much little time,
Right.
like you can't get your time back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
try not to be regretful about what I didn't do and all type of stuff and just try to move forward because we have plenty of time. It's
Right.
what you do at the time, how you feel in that time.
Yeah.
It definitely made me think about spirituality. Like I mentioned before, I'm not religious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I respect all religions, but it really makes me think about what is really the truth. Like,
Yeah.
what happens when it's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not religious either. I just hope there's something. I hope there's a day. I hope there's a day where we could all be together again. That's all.
Yeah, no, for real. I really think so. And the day that we you can just simply understand everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the type of person I choose to be. Try to be more understanding
Yeah.
of everyone. Try not to hold no grudges, gripes. You know what I'm saying? I definitely have my days of regret. I definitely have. I think everyone has this moment where you think, damn, if I'd have stuck on this path or that path. It's interesting. I mentioned my ex girlfriend having 3 kids. Well, her daughter posted something recently. It kind of alluded to the fact of people who have not accomplished certain things, who are not settled by a certain age, right?
Yeah.
And that's me in a nutshell. Like
Yeah.
based like the 2 children, white picket fence, a dog, and married. I did not, nah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nowhere near married, no kids, no this, that, and third. And I had to come to a realization that everybody's life is not gonna be the same, right?
Right.
So it's based on what makes you happy and her post, my ex-girlfriend's daughter's post was something along the lines of some people love to explore. Some people love to continue to learn. Some people
Yeah.
love to continue to grow and things of
Right.
that nature. So it's nothing really wrong with not having certain things at a certain point. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
At the same time, you have other people who need to have, children because it's better for everyone in the world. Like your kids can grow up to be the people that change the lives of somebody for so much better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it all started from not just you, but your father, your grandfather. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and the lineage. So who really knows?
Who knows?
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, when it comes to like death and losing friends, like who really knows what is the point? What is the purpose? What I do know is I enjoy being happy, bro.
Right. Right.
I enjoy that. Sometimes I enjoy being happy so much that it makes me sad that other people can't be happy.
Yeah. Right. It's how you're gonna spend the rest of the time.
I ain't gonna spare you. Gotta deal with the ups and downs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
again, the best ride at the amusement park is the roller coaster.
All right.
Ups and downs.
All right. Enough of this. Enough of this heavy
Right, heavy
shit.
shit.
We got some. All right.
I know, right? You got
All
me over here wiping
right.
my face.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I just it's been on my mind a lot. Because we're getting to that age. We're gonna start losing people,
Yeah,
and family, friends, and I mean, again, like you said, it just makes life is precious.
yeah.
So why wait? Why waste your time with all the negative shit?
No, facts.
You know,
Facts.
spend time doing what you want to do, having some fun,
Yep.
telling people that you love them.
Yep.
Spady called me up
Yeah.
to tell me,
Yeah. No doubt.
and he had me in tears just because just he he just told me how much he loved me, and
Y'all go back.
no, I mean it was
Right.
just really, and I know it was from an emotional place, but I know it was real, and it's just no, we don't as men we don't tell each other we love each other enough,
No facts. Yeah.
we don't, and why not?
Man. So that being said, Julius and I, we make it a point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When we talk, because we had a whole different,
yeah,
experience outside of school, being business partners, fraternity brothers,
yeah,
bandmates, and all that. And it's so real, and it's like
yeah,
the good part about it is we can tell the youth how important it is. So
yeah,
hopefully, they'll grow up knowing that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and we grew up in an era where that's not something that happened.
Man, hell, man, dude. Hell no,
you didn't tell
man.
people that you were hurt, let alone you love
Yeah,
them.
no,
Yeah,
for real.
yeah,
And now that we're older, we understand how, dude, it's just so many things that are said without being said.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like when me and Wes get together, it's so much stuff that's said without being said. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Me and Spady, we talk all the time, and like I know what he's going through. You know, the death of his sister and stuff like that. That
yeah,
changed him. You know, what I mean, big time.
yeah.
And but the good thing is he has us to call.
Right.
I talked to Chanel,
Yeah,
and she told me about some things that she's going through a couple things, and she's keeping her head up and all that type of stuff. But I said, listen, if you need anything,
yeah. I'm here.
holler, right? And
Yeah,
she's like, I know. She's like, I know that if I need y'all for anything, y'all gonna be right there for me. But she has her own family and all type
yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? I think we all kind of know that,
Right,
and we all don't want to get in each other's way either or be a burden.
right.
But
But
if we need each other, we know that we
yeah,
got each
we're
other's
there.
back. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
I,
So yeah, it's good to one know that and also to be able to lean on that when necessary.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Even if it's just a night out to just blow off steam, right?
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean, and it's crazy because that spreads beyond, you know what I'm saying? Like you, Mike, and Frank have a click.
yeah,
Me, Wes have a click. Me, Spady,
yeah.
but it's all interconnected.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if I don't talk to you for a little while, you talk to somebody that talk, you know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
We all know what's going on. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's to the point where I forgot that Michael Bright was out of school before Tip even came
Right.
to Gant. But I called Michael Bright was one of the people I called up. Like I didn't even know you knew that Tip passed away. And it didn't dawn on me until after conversation, but he carried it like he knew Ivan, like he graduated school
Yeah,
with
yeah,
him, you know
yeah.
what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
because he knew him. I mean,
He knew him, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But everybody knows Bright though.
Everybody knows Bright.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's always been around because that's how deep the Gant family goes. Um, not to mention, I don't know if I told you, I found out that Sean Tillman had actually killed
yeah,
himself, bro.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that messed me up too because, I found out through his brother, you know what I'm saying, just a happenstance at the barbershop. And it was just like, wow.
Did I ever tell you about Sean? Did I ever have this conversation with you about Sean? You know,
Mhm.
Sean and I were like really good friends,
Right.
and then
Because he played clarinet also.
he played clarinet
Right.
also, and then things changed with Sean.
Yeah.
I was Nation Islam stuff,
Yeah.
and he wasn't allowed to be my friend anymore.
Right. Which is, yeah.
I mean, it was sad. It was
Yeah.
very, and it was, I always used to say he was never disrespectful to me, and he was always. I could always see it on him how much it tortured him.
Right. No, for real.
Uh,
It's wild because Sean, in hindsight,
And yeah,
I guess it was around 10th grade when that whole fight situation happened. And
yeah,
he was kind of, mind you, 42 people. Out of the 42, the black men were 8 of us.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Only 8 of us.
yeah,
And so when you have out of the 8 black men that are in that school, 4 playing on the basketball team, 2 are really popular because they're really good ball players.
yeah,
And those people are like, yo, we ain't rocking with you no more.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And by default, most people are not going to rock with you either because they said that you ran from this fight.
yeah,
When in reality, he went to go get more help.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't say that that was like the start of the issues or whatever.
yeah,
Because ultimately he had mental illness or whatever the
yeah.
case is.
Clearly mental. Yeah,
Graduated top of the class. You know what I mean? He graduated. He didn't come to graduation. Got
yeah,
into Morehouse. If I'm not mistaken, full ride at Morehouse or whatever. So,
yeah.
but to know somebody from youth and then
As I see him tortured,
yeah,
yeah,
like we're adults and we can look back on it now.
yeah,
Because he wanted me to be a part of Nation Islam with
yeah.
him.
Did he?
He was in the neighborhood, and my father's Muslim and all type of stuff.
Yeah,
And I just wasn't really with the with the discipline part of
yeah,
aspect of it or whatever the
right.
case is.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Sean, man, I
It's just
wasn't
sad.
I wasn't there that day when that whole fight situation happened, so I wasn't caught up in the I don't mess with Sean no more. But I got my friends on this side, and I got Sean who's not being, he not
Respected. Yeah.
respected or whatever. So that was tough for me during those years, and I really have very blurred memories of Sean in 11th and 12th grade.
Me too.
Other than,
I don't even think he came out
and
and played basketball anymore,
I don't think
man.
he did anything, bro. I think he just kind of. I really don't remember seeing Sean in class. Like I can't really visualize him.
No, I was in the other class. Like me and Spady were in the other class, but
Right.
so we wouldn't have seen him as much. But I don't remember
I
him.
don't remember him doing much of anything except for when we had economics class and we had to create some branding for the shirts, and he made a T-shirt that said buy the EFFIN shirts. That's how he spelled it. A testament to how smart he was. I mean,
Yeah,
because he got to wait. You know what I mean, but
yeah.
that was funny. And one of our senior pictures he took with his eyes bugged out real
Oh, I
wide.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean was on some different stuff, and
I actually remember. Do you remember we had some lady, Holocaust survivor, come to school? You remember this?
it's so wild because as you're saying this, it's kind of coming back, but
You remember he questioned everything she had to say.
I vaguely remember that, bro.
Yeah. I mean, he was just on again. He was a super smart kid.
Wasn't it at the audit? It was at Gerard, wasn't it? Was it at
No,
Gerard, or
I
did it
think
come to the
no.
class
She can't. I think it was the library.
in the library downstairs?
Yeah, and she was talking to class about her experiences about
Oh man,
remembering people going off in the
yeah.
trains and stuff like that,
Oh
and
wow.
him just questioning the existence of the Hawk. I mean,
I kind
I'm
of
not laughing, but yeah,
vaguely remember that, bro.
I mean, I just again, I feel I feel bad for I feel bad that that was the end for him.
Yeah, no, for real. Super sad, and
Yeah,
especially when, like we said earlier, Jason Roseanne needs to kind of disappear.
yeah,
You kind of get why some people just need to disappear and
yeah,
leave. Whatever case is.
yeah.
So
You just hope the best.
right, and then to hear, and the way I found out is just crazy because his brother and his nephew were in the shop. They come to the shop pretty often, and we end up getting to this conversation. It's like at least after 3 or 4 months after him coming to the shop, and he mentioned how he grew up in the barbershop environment in South Philly. Then he mentioned barbershop Woodard's over in 19th and Carpenter. I'm like, oh damn, did you know a Sean Tillman? He's like, that's my brother. And as he's saying this, I see Sean in his face. Like
Yeah,
I see the
yeah,
resemblance. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh wow. I'm like, oh man, my guy talked to Sean forever. Like, what's up with him? What you doing? He's like, oh, Sean took his life back. And I think he said 2016. And I'm
yeah.
just like, what? Like,
Wow, yeah,
you know what I mean? And to know it was suicide, that was crazy.
yeah,
Super crazy. And then, people dealing like Tom, dealing with cancer, bro.
yeah,
Like that shit bothers me a lot too. You know what I'm saying? Because Tom was the ball player. You know what I mean? And the world's so small. Like Tom's mother passed away, and I went to to the funeral
yeah,
mainly to represent for us because I knew everybody couldn't make it. I
yeah.
knew his mom. His mom used to come to the barbershop every 2 weeks, and I would always ask her, "How's Tom doing?" Blah blah blah. Again, a situation where when people do their thing or whatever, you kind of lose track of them, and you
Right,
kind of hear from people through 6 degrees of separation, or whatever.
right.
And his mom happened to be that 6 degree. You know what I mean? And I would often ask about him, and then when I found out that she passed through, I guess the not obituary, but the announcement or whatever,
Okay,
came to the barbershop. I saw that. And I'm like, damn,
it's awful. Yeah,
neighborhood situation. So I was able to walk right around to the funeral home. It was just sad to see our brother, go through that.
yeah,
Nobody wants to lose their mother, of course. Um, and it was just rough. So I just made sure he knew that we all, had his back or whatever the case is. And because of the relationship at that point in time, I didn't talk to Tom often. You know what I
right.
mean? I check in every once in a while. What's up, bro? How you been? All right, boom. Then one day I get a call at the barber shop and I see Catlet at the last. So the lady I'm on the phone with, I'm like, older lady, I'm like, I question by any chance, are you related to a Tom Catlett? I graduated high school at the time. She's like, oh yeah, that's my nephew, blah, 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 blah. Oh wow. Okay. This is like his great aunt. This is his mom's
Yeah,
his grandmother's sister, I guess.
yeah,
So Tom's great nephew comes to get a haircut from me, whatever. And she mentioned to me on the phone, like, yeah, he's doing okay now, after the diet. And I'm like, what do you mean? Oh yeah, he was sick or whatever. She was kind of vague about the whole thing. So then I hit him up and yeah, turns out he was diagnosed with cancer. But apparently it's going away, the chemotherapy, he's
oh, good,
working, all type of stuff.
good.
Um and with all that being said, between Ivan's passing, Spady and Tom talk, they talk
That's awesome.
because we all went to school, we all went to Bloomsbury together. And
Yeah,
when Tom left,
yeah,
what I mean, got kicked out, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
or whatever he did,
yeah,
Spady felt some kind of way about that.
yeah.
Like, damn, like that my brother, that was so like I flunked out of school and I left Spady with a bill actually on the rent. You know what I'm saying? He said this to me the other day. It's like, yeah, you still owe me such and such amount of money, blah blah blah. But it's like, but that's a testament to, us growing up and being family and all that. So
Yeah,
when Tip passed away, I know that even Spady and Wesley had to have some conversations, or well,
yeah.
they didn't have conversations, but it
Mend some fences.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So that is the one thing about funerals and death that I've experienced over the last few years, that it definitely brings people together.
yeah. Well, that's a good thing then.
That's yeah. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, like my little cousin's passing, it sucks, but there's like a 25-person group thread. And for the longest, every morning it was like, "Hey, what's up, family? I love you. How's
Yeah.
everybody doing?" And able to continue and maintain that for a
Yeah.
good while to kind of get through the grief. And it's ebbs and flows of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, they say time heals all wounds. Some things you just can't recover from, and it does not necessarily a recovering from it. It just changes you. You're
It
different.
changes it.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Period. And it will not, and from my perspective and in my opinion, it will not prevent you from dealing with another death. I
No.
think the only time that a person can sort of prepare is when the person that's dying is suffering, which sucks.
Yeah.
But it gives you time to talk to them and do
Yeah.
things, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Versus when someone dies suddenly, you
Yeah.
don't expect it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I have two uncles that committed suicide. I don't know
I
if you
didn't know
know
that.
that.
No, I didn't know that.
I had one uncle committed suicide in my basement when I was 8 years old,
Wow,
and my memory about that is I was upstairs sleeping, and my aunt woke me up in the middle of the night as they were taking my uncle out,
wow,
and my real one memory is hearing my grandmother scream.
wow. Yeah,
So that changed my family forever.
yeah, I believe it. Yeah,
He was 25 years old, and my dad was 28.
wow,
So my uncle was a year or two older, maybe 30.
right.
So it was a young family, big young family, but changed it
Yeah,
forever. My grandparents were never the same.
right. And now that we're older, we can fully
Yeah,
understand.
and I was like an adult from like almost that moment on because my dad pulled him out of the basement
Right, man.
and watched his brother take his last breath.
Yeah,
I mean, my father was never the same after that either.
right,
I look at it now.
right,
Um, but so that's where and then so like from 8 years old, I was pretty much on my own.
right.
I mean,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and I was certainly on my own to navigate it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that kind of loss, that kind of trauma, just impacts, and it's a wonderful thing that your family is come pulling together.
Yeah, and it's not
Yeah,
easy, you know
no,
what I'm
it's not
saying?
easy.
And like I said, ebbs and flows or whatever.
Yeah,
Like my cousin, he was 19, he has a little sister and an older brother.
yeah,
I think about that, and that's it keeps me from being selfish because I think first of all, everybody's selfish. Everybody
yeah,
looks out for themselves. You know,
of
you have
course.
to.
Yeah,
Um, but then you realize, like for me, when people pass away and when bad things happen to other people, rather, I'm sorry, people bad things happen to me, and when I deal with stuff, I realize other people got stuff to deal with too. That could be way worse.
way worse. Yeah, you never know.
And people would love to have my problems or love to
Yeah,
have, you know what I'm saying?
that's it. Yeah,
The same way I would love to have somebody else's,
yeah,
problems or whatever. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, bro, it's like with that being said, I mean, life is just life. It is what it is. You can't prepare yourself for everything. You cannot prepare yourself for the goods or the bads. You know what I'm saying? You just have to kind of be and just kind of, be willing to just navigate this thing and just, deal with what comes with the territory.
yeah.
You can't control it all. You know what I mean? You kind of want to, but that would be boring too if you think about it. Like if you
No, it
knew,
would be boring.
it'd be
Yeah,
boring as hell. You know what I'm saying?
I mean
So,
that's what makes life interesting is the unexpected
oh
things.
yeah, for sure. And when you have your friends and stuff that pass away, we keep them alive through the memories.
Yeah,
And we also learn, what to do, whether it's a health situation or whether it's,
yeah, but
something sudden or whatever, because we don't know, he just found unresponsible. Ivan, he was just found unresponsible in his apartment. And, we can all speculate what it is.
who knows?
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because the hardest part is like Spady, man, he messed me up with it. He just like, what sucks for him to think about was the fact, like for me, it's the fact that Ivan has a 16-year-old daughter.
Yeah, but that's
That sucks. But
yeah,
Spady was saying he was by himself more than likely. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but that's
You
yeah,
don't know what he was doing. You know how with the process. But like my aunt passed away. My mom's only sister. She passed away in the middle of the night, and she was sitting there in her chair.
yeah,
But we don't know if she,
yeah. You don't know how that.
reached out for some help or you know what I'm saying. And yeah, so and, with that being said, bro, this is why I try to be as positive as possible.
Yeah,
I try not to bring any negativity to other people's lives because that could be a trigger to something messed up. I don't really toot my horn about good stuff that I do, but as an example, just for the intent of saying that it's not hard to do good things for other people, no matter how small it was.
yeah,
I saw this family. They must have did a Craigslist purchase right outside my house, and picked up a bookshelf.
yeah,
and they had to put the back seats. There was a regular car they had. They had to put the back seats down to kind of put it, and it was poking out the back of the trunk. And they had like some tarp, and they was trying to put it together. And I'm watching for like a half an hour because I'm talking to some friends on the corner, and I'm watching them kind of like not to say struggle, but just trying to figure out how they gonna do it. I'm like, I got some. I think I got some bungees in my truck. Went to the truck, grabbed the bungees, worked perfectly. They're like, "Oh my god, thank you. How can I bring them?" I said, "Don't even worry about it. Just get some more. It's no big deal. Just sit in the back of my truck. Don't sweat it." It was that easy. And that moment though could have made their not their life, but it could have made so much things much easier. They were stressing over something that was small to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think if everybody went out in the world and kind of acted like that, or at least know that you can help somebody, it doesn't hurt to give up something. Even when you get that dollar to the quote unquote homeless person or the junkie or whatever, it's not up to us to decide what happens with that dollar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That in some cases that's medicine for that person, so they don't do something crazy. They may go use it for drugs or for alcohol, but that's to give them that to ease them through to get through that night. That one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know if that person's birthday that day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like so.
Yeah.
I think it's always best to stay positive and move in positivity, regardless. Even if you're getting played, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, it ain't worth it because we all have an expiration date that we don't see.
Yeah. All right. Enough of this shit.
Yeah, dig it.
All right. So give me. I need a couple at least embarrassing stories. I need a couple.
Oh well, shit! You will witness my most embarrassing moment was in school when me, Speedy, and Warren tried to do the rap for the talent show, and I forgot all my lyrics, dude.
I forgot.
I forgot all my lyrics. Oh my god! What happened was I wrote a rap prior to, read it to Miss Hack, and I had some controversial things to do, whatever. So she made me change it. I had to rewrite a rap.
Okay.
The day before the talent show, and dude, I got on there. I said my first 2 lines, and I forgot the rest of it. And I was just on stage like.
Just frozen?
Just frozen, just like I wouldn't say frozen. I just stuck up there. That was embarrassing. I could say my original most embarrassing moment, the one that sticks out the most from when I was really really young. My dad took me to a carnival over at Sister Claire Muhammad School over in Westfield, like 48th and Girard.
Okay.
And they had like horseback riding things.
Yeah.
The pony rides or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And I saw a guy riding a horse by himself, like ride that joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna ride like that. So I went over to the guy and I was like, I could ride it on my own. I got on the horse and it budged and moved and not like that. and I was like 7. He ended up having to walk me. I just felt so stupid because that's like the first time I remember like thinking I could do something. I just could. That's like, I think that might have been my first embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
That I could think of. Other than that, bro, I've had plenty of embarrassing moments on stage and stuff like that. We make mistakes, but those are moments I'm embarrassed for myself and the audience don't know.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of embarrassing moments that are private.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think all the fellas in their 40s understand that.
So. All right. How about, have you ever shit yourself?
Have I ever shit myself? No. I don't think I've ever shit myself, bro.
Ever piss yourself?
I have. I do remember like having a dream in the pee in my bed, like as an adult, like post 18. I think I can probably look back and say I was probably drunk or something like that or whatever case. But definitely had a dream and pee right there in the bed.
Yeah.
I can't think of any, like I never shit myself though. I'm pretty sure I've come close.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've had like but I've never like shit myself and had to like I think I would remember that.
No, you would remember it. I promise you. It's not something you forget. It's not something you forget.
Right. Oh my god.
Did you ever fart and really embarrass yourself?
I'm pretty sure I have, bro. In this moment, you
can't think of it.
Yeah, I've taken enough plane rides to where definitely had to pass gas.
All right, how about did you ever catch somebody having sex or get caught having sex?
Yes and no. Like I tried to get away with having sex with my girlfriend. I was like 22. No, I was 20. No, I was 22. No, I'm sorry, I was 18, 19.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of us. They were down where we were at, like Pemberton Street, like 20th and Pemberton or something at my ex-girlfriend's cousin's house or apartment or something like that. And we were like hugged up and cuddled up in a chair, trying to have sex in front of everybody without them knowing. Like it was just, some young bullshit. Like, what I mean? We had the blankets on us and whatever. Yeah. Try to get away with that. I have an experience where one of my frat brothers from DC, I was at his apartment and I was crashing I was just crashing for the night, and I was gonna leave in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was sleeping on the couch, but he had a roommate, and they were having sex, and the chick was just mad loud. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm visiting, you have a
Come
roommate.
on, man. Yeah.
It's like, you can quiet it down a little bit. Like, I don't think anybody wants to hear other people having sex when
No.
you don't have anybody that you're laid up with.
No, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then even worse than that is when you are laid up with somebody and they're not trying to have
That's
sex with you, somebody else is having
yeah.
a ball,
Yeah.
and you over here like, well, what about me? Yeah, that sucks. But
All right. I got 20 questions for you.
all right,
You ready?
yeah.
All right. It's the Angry Dave podcast. What makes you angry?
Oh man, what makes me angry is when people do things that are wrong, but then gaslight you to make, like, as a
Yeah.
barber, you come late, and then you look at me like I'm crazy when I tell you I can't cut your hair because you missed your appointment. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when someone can't understand why you're mad, that makes me angry.
Yeah. They're being inconsiderate to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Or
makes me angry.
they do wrong and then they pretend that they're in the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I could think of right
It's
off the
every
top.
fucking day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I deal with that. It's annoying. How about what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is seeing other people happy. To be honest with you, like seeing people have a good time, seeing people genuinely happy does make me happy.
How about what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of figuring out that I am. I'm most proud of doing what I like to do
Yeah.
for me to make a living, so to speak.
Yeah. I
I'm
love
proud
that.
of that, and I'm proud of never have doing anything super embarrassing to my family or friends, like go to jail and shit like
Yeah.
that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because the easy could have happened with just a simple stupid mistake or whatever the case is, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to have like stayed out of trouble for the most part.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Fucking have people have more respect for each other. We don't have to agree. We just have to have respect for each other. Well, I think we'll be a little bit happier
Yeah.
just respecting each other.
Yeah. It's funny that almost everybody that I've asked that question to in the 20 episodes or so that I've done so far
Mhm.
has basically said the same thing.
Yeah, it's just that. I mean, come on, dude. Like I respect the fact that you have a different upbringing than me,
Right.
but I also respect the fact that we have an intersection where we grew up in the same type of, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because of that alone, that means we have enough commonality to, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, and we respect each other as human beings, and we know we care about each other, and
right.
we know each other cares about each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Real quick, like, I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, like, when it comes to respect, if I came across an 18, 19-year-old skinhead
Yeah.
with swastikas and talking that shit, I would take the time to talk to that person if they allow. I'll
Yeah.
have a conversation because it's coming from somewhere. They learned it from somewhere. Now, if you're
Right.
45, 50 years old, we might have to rumble because
Yeah.
you're old enough to know, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
have respect. Like, I can respect that somebody learned some negative shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're just thinking they're doing what they're supposed to be doing or what they,
Right.
it makes sense to them at the time for the immaturity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have enough respect to do that. And indirectly allow it to continue by not having a conversation with somebody as young. Because imagine you had like American History X, that movie.
Yeah.
When he came back, when he learned what was really, really going on from being in jail and stuff like that, he went back and was like, listen, y'all.
Right. It's not the
But
way.
it took for him to have to talk to somebody. I think it was Guy Tori in the movie
Yeah.
that was, his celly or whatever, that kind of, but if Guy Tori has treated him like, oh, you just a swastika wearing person, I'm not gonna have no respect for you, I'm not even gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
He may not have learned some stuff to go back to his people and kind of educate more people.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, immaturity can be forgiven.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's hard to forgive though. Once you know, we should know better.
Yeah, should. And should is a dangerous word sometimes. But
Yeah. How about one thing you change about your life? Anything?
I would be a little less of a procrastinator.
Yeah.
Less of a person who, like, I'm not lazy,
Right.
but I'm lazy.
Yeah, I got
I mean,
you.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
there's certain things that, I drag my feet on, but I'm not a lazy person because I definitely get things done. So, yeah, if I could change my procrastination, that would probably be number one.
Where's the strangest place you ever had sex?
By today's standards, nowhere is strange. But
Right.
the first thing that comes to mind is at the movie theater in the bathroom during the movie, the Hitchhiker's Guide to this whack ass movie, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the probably strangest place is on a couch at my she wasn't even my girlfriend, but we were together for like 3 years. On it, the reason is strange because it was on the couch, but it was in her mother's house on the living room couch, and her younger brother and her little cousin were like on the floor watching TV in front of us. So yeah, that was kind of risky.
I have a story about that when I was like 12 or 13 years
Uh,
old. My uncle, who was only 6 years older than me, he was like my big brother,
right.
was was fucking a girl like on the couch, and I was laying down pretending to be
Pretending
asleep.
to be asleep.
Yeah, I heard
Enjoying every
being a little fucking creep that I was.
Listen, man. I mean, hey, yeah, that might have been, not necessarily strange places, but
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's pretty strange.
it was.
How about what's most important to you?
By default, I want to say family,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean biological blood
yeah, yeah,
family. It
yeah.
just means your relationships with your friends and family. Because people that you grow up with and people that you care about most, they really make up who you are.
Yep.
Even down to like your associates at work and stuff like that. Sometimes
Yeah.
they kind of make up who you are, especially when you're young. So that's probably what's most important. Family.
What's your most unreasonable quality?
I'm super stubborn. Yeah, because I could be unreasonably stubborn at times, which would kind of hurt me.
You're right.
Ultimately,
How about your best quality?
just being open minded. Quite
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's helped me out throughout life. I've been able to, like, I remember being in camp and having friends who didn't have shit. Like, I know people who literally I'll be sitting in the living room and I used to see mice running back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
but I've also been in a situation where people who have, oh my god,
Too
we have
much. Yeah.
too much, right? And both of them are the same person to me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I give you the same respect and the same disrespect if necessary.
Yeah. Right. If an everyday struggle you have, what's your everyday
Goes
struggle?
back to that procrastination.
Yeah.
And just, overthinking and self doubt, to be honest with you. As a
Yeah.
musician and being an artist and making music, the doubt can come in. I know I have skills. I know that I can create music that's better than some people that are household names.
Yeah.
And it's not being a prideful pat myself on the back. It's just that, when you know music, you know music.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the difference is, like I often say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
I am a gifted person, but not a talented person because I don't work hard enough at my gift. You understand what I'm saying? Like when I went to
I
school,
hear you. I hear you.
bro, I didn't practice. I never
No.
practiced,
Yeah.
bro,
Me
but I
neither.
played in every damn band. I
Right.
didn't practice at all. Like I rarely ever. My practice was playing in the bands or
Yeah.
we had lessons in school. So
Right.
I was gifted with the
Right.
ability to have rhythm.
Right.
I would have been talented if I'd have practiced though.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
It does make sense.
so yeah, that
Or you could have been better, I guess.
just way better. Like
Yeah.
for a number of reasons, and I don't regret it at all. It's just is what it is. I'm still good enough to shit make a living making
Right.
music
Right.
still.
Right. Doing it.
Right.
All right. How about a tattoo or scar that tells a story? Any tattoos or scars?
Yeah, I have a bunch of tattoos, but my first, I got a scar on my knee. I'll never forget it. Cause scar on my knee and both my elbows because I was, how you ride a bike and you're sitting on a bar. And my cousin was riding.
Yeah.
We lived on 57 in Washington. There's a park right there, and we would ride down the hill and then kind of spin around the corner and then come back up. But when we spent, it was a bunch of gravel. I fell off the bike, skinned my knees crazy. And I just remember looking up and seeing him just ride off. He just left
Just
me.
keep going.
But apparently he went home to go tell people that I was, and I'm walking on the street crying, blood all over myself, my knees. And I still have a scar to this day on my knee that, from that. The tattoos, my first tattoo was just my name on my arm. And that's because everybody's getting tattoos. 94, 18
Yeah.
years old, got my first tattoo.
Yeah.
But then I got a bunch of tattoos after that, and I have the Philly skyline, the continent of Africa, and then I have like a it's a scarab beetle, like an Egyptian scarab beetle, then the pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
And the premise behind it was to kind of show all the places that we're from. So they say that, we're from Philly. My name's Omar, I'm from Philly. They say everyone originates, so all people originate in Africa or whatever, and then we're
Yeah.
all from this same solar system. So I have like sun rays off the top of that.
Cool.
And then I have the transcription of Clyde Stubblefield's, who is James Brown's drummer,
Yeah.
Funky Drummer, which is like the most sampled drum beat
Yep.
ever. And other than that, I have an Ankh, which is like the symbol of life, and then I have my little cousin's name, his nickname on my arm.
All right. How about another profession that you might want to do or that interests you that you never did?
Bro, dentistry.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. The first time I thought about it, man, I had an appeodectomy, which was basically I had an infection in my gum. I had to take a tooth out. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And the anesthesia, waking up from the anesthesia, I asked the guy, I was like, "How long did it take to become like a dentist?" Because I just found it to be super interesting. Because I've always had problems with my teeth,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, damn, if I had like an uncle that was a dentist or something like that, I probably would have fell right into dentistry.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because it's interesting. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that until I was much older.
Yeah.
If I
That,
had the money, bro, I probably would just go to school for like
so there's not that many dentists and veterinarians. Or it's hard to become
yeah,
both.
right, yeah. I
There's not
mean,
that many dentistry schools.
there's not, there's not, there's not. Templeton School is pretty good though.
Yeah. All right. How about a type of music that you hate? Anything?
A type of music that I cannot say that I hate, that I outright hate any music,
Okay.
any type of music. Um,
What do you like the least?
I will say there's a toss up between like, oh man, like a certain type of country.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I
know
mean?
it.
And a certain type of metal, like
Yeah.
that black metal. That
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shit's like what the fuck.
Yeah.
However, there's a small part of me that respects it because I can't be a fan of Public Enemy when they had some really hard
Yeah. Yeah.
situations. They should have did a joint with Anthrax at one point. So,
Right.
but I don't know if that's like metal, that deep
Yeah. Well,
metal,
you're talking about like death metal where it's just,
death metal, where
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like like when you're trying to be obnoxious. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you're trying to fucking sound like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the music that I just because is that music,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. How about what's your favorite type of music, or how would you describe your favorite vibe? Or,
Quite honestly, quite honestly, authentic hip hop.
okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because authentic hip hop encompasses all music.
Yeah, it does.
Run
Right.
DMC had Walk This Way, which is Aerosmith. You
Right.
know what I mean? You
Yeah.
had you had hip hop with dancehall. You had hip hop that incorporated samples from Kung Fu. Like Wu Tang is my favorite group. So you had the whole Kung Fu movie era coming through that.
Right.
Hip hop incorporated a lot of jazz music. Gangstar and Tribe Called Quest. That was a lot of jazz music. So it embodied a lot of different styles, like the drums. Big beat, boom, boom, crap, boom, boom. That's I mean, it was rock and roll, but it was hip hop.
Right.
You know, so you had jazz, which is hip hop. Yeah, rock and roll, which is hip hop. You know what I mean? Some metal songs became hip hop. Back in the day, that was a country hip hop
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I love hip hop. But you notice I'm not saying rap.
Right.
Rap is just a form of music within the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what's going on nowadays with this rap music is some bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't stand by it. There's room for all of it. You know what I'm
There's
saying?
room for all
There's
of it.
room for all of it, but the problem that I have is less to do with music, but it has a lot more to do with politics. It's unfortunate that I heard this one day on Instagram, I think it was. Every race, every ethnicity has a darkness to it.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, whether it's Asian, Hispanic, white, black, whatever, you have your prostitutes, you have your drug dealers, you have your black market.
Right.
It's just that so-called black people, theirs is always put on the forefront.
Yeah.
And it's being sold. You know what I mean? And you
Right.
have other people who control it who are selling it.
Yeah.
And that's why I differentiate hip hop versus rap, because hip hop, true hip hop, incorporate everybody. There's some dope Hispanic rap artists,
Right.
dope Italian rap artists, you know what I mean? White, black,
Right.
everything in between.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, you got movies like Wild Style, go back to the 80s, who's dealing with people who were blue collar, poor. Hip hop was encompassing of all ethnicities, true hip hop. You know what I mean? MC Search, white dude. The Beastie Boys, come on, dog. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So what's going on nowadays, that's my favorite. Hip hop is my favorite, form of music.
Yeah.
But I definitely differentiate hip hop from rap. Rap is like a manufactured bullshit version.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I do.
It's a blurred line, but you know what I'm saying.
No. I hear you. It's this whatever the commercialized,
Overly right.
overly
Right.
commercialized
Right.
objectification of
Exactly.
black culture. Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 100%. I mean, yeah, because dude, there's a young, I don't know if it's a group, but young rappers who are rapping about farming. You know what I mean? Like seriously,
Yeah.
and it sounds great.
Yeah.
But why is it that over the last few decades, ever since like NWA, it's just been like you're not black unless you act a certain way, and that certain way is typically some hood shit where you're shooting up and
Yeah.
drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Can I ask you a question that
yeah.
it's not just sort of also it's a maybe a little bit political, but what's your feeling about the use of the N word in
Um,
in the music?
quite honestly, here's the thing.
Because
I have multiple answers for this question, right?
yeah, because I have no, but like so my opinion is I don't use the word, right?
Right,
That's not my word. I can't use it. So
right,
it's easy for me.
right,
So, but
right. So when you grow up and the culture that you're in kind of makes it seem cool.
yeah,
Like there's a all right, if someone's intelligent enough to understand the various aspects of it, there is one that I think most people agree with. It shouldn't be used at all,
right,
right?
right,
Because of the intent behind it.
right, intent, right,
So when you hear, folks on the news arguing or debating about the use of it and why would you want to use it?
right,
Because when it comes out of certain people's mouths, it only has one intention.
right,
Now, when it comes to black people actually using the word, people can agree or disagree, but it's becoming a word that was so negative that we had to flip it to where we had to make it a positive word. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Understood.
But even then, it's still a slang word. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? So parts of me feel like it's just a fucking word.
right.
If you're look, dude, if we grew up together and you're around all the rap music and all kinds of stuff, you hear it flying around this and that third, and let's go to an example. The kid that lost a scholarship because he said the N word while reciting a rap.
Yeah, right,
In this modern time, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna blame that kid for reciting a rap
right,
that has the N word in it.
right.
We don't know the context of his background. We don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
none of that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I think that's a little ridiculous to try to prove a liberal, that extra liberal
Yeah,
point
yeah.
to try to because he
To
said the word.
to ruin a kid's life.
Right.
Yeah,
Now, you got people who listen, would I be more mad at somebody calling me in all seriousness, a fucking asshole, right?
yeah,
Or you fucking dickhead motherfucker, whatever
yeah,
bad word versus someone saying, "Oh, that was funny in Rush Hour when Jackie Chan said, oh, what up, my nigga?" You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and I'm gonna get mad because that person actually said the word. I was like, some people take it to that level. Like, just because you said out your word, forget the context. You said it.
right,
You uttered it out your mouth.
right.
Like, I don't agree with that extreme level of being mad at somebody that uses that word. But if at the end of the day, the short answer is my stance on it is it's a word. It's the intent behind the word. We know the history of the word.
Yeah,
Nobody should say it. Should it's a strong, what I mean, that's a dangerous word. Nobody should say it, but I'm not going to flip out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Depending on the situation.
yeah. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
simple as that. I mean, it's interesting because there's so many other words that are used and people kind of laugh at them. Chink, wop, they go, all
yeah,
kinds of
yeah.
derogatory words. But that N word though, whoo, that starts to strum with some real controversy.
Listen, I mean, I work in a corporate environment.
Yeah,
If you're not black and you say it, bye bye.
it's a rap. It's a rap.
It's easy.
It's super
I
right.
mean, you can't. I mean, you just can't do it.
You just can't do it. And the thing about it is, it's like
Well, I was just kidding. I'm from North Philly.
right.
I hear you, buddy, but
Yeah, listen. And I kind of understand. I had a guy I used to work with, and we were having a car. He lived in Germantown in a rough neighborhood, had all
yeah,
kinds of bad experiences. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And he used the word, and I naturally kind of fucked up. But he
yeah,
explained, like, I'm using it in the textbook dictionary version, yada yada yada, blah blah blah.
yeah,
Now, I wasn't cool with the fact that he was so comfortable
yeah,
in
yeah,
how he's saying it, but at the same time, I wasn't going to flip out on him because he used it based on his experience. He was saying these are some ignorant people that you know what I mean. And
yeah,
even saying it now, it's kind of like it has a whack excuse, but
yeah.
his intention behind it wasn't.
It wasn't a bad intention,
You
I
feel me?
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I get it.
you have some people that will say the word and they have the power to ruin lives because that's how they really think. They really look
Right.
at you like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you got some people who just really think it's a slang word. And
Right. Yeah, I mean, and there are some people that grow up in that situation,
yeah,
and
one,
it's
yeah,
Hispanic kids that grow up in North Philly. I mean,
right.
that's a word that
I
you
mean,
yeah,
dude, I've seen everybody use the word. It's
yeah,
just like, and these at a certain point, these are kids just that have no idea,
yeah. They have no idea. You're right.
no idea. So at the end of the day, hey, if you got a question, it don't use
Yeah,
it.
yeah, right. Yeah. Here, yeah. If you're not sure, don't.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right. What annoys you about others? Like a quality that annoys you about other people?
The inability to understand somebody else's perspective.
How about something that you admire most about people?
The ability to
Yeah.
They have respect and then understand somebody else's perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's respect. Respect is big with me.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference. Like, having respect for somebody can change somebody else's life. Like, literally. You know what I mean? Respecting that the situation that they're in, you know what I mean? Or for example, I had a guy coming to the shop the other day. He was a homosexual dude, and he was also in a halfway house, 61 years old, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? A recovering drug addict.
Yeah.
And I treat all my clients with respect.
Yeah.
And when he admitted that he was a, recovering addict, I was like, well, thanks for sharing that with me. I understand the struggle. Stay strong. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't going to treat him any different.
Right.
And I think he left saying, "Oh man, God sent me here," you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. I really think that the conversation that we had just made him feel better about his day in general
Right.
or the situation that he's in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because there was somebody who was younger who was able to say, you know what, hey, just stay strong. I
Yeah.
recognize this type of situation. I know it's not easy,
Yeah. Felt
but
heard. Right. Felt
felt
seen.
heard. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
How about if you were arrested, what would your friends and family think happened?
they'll think it was a fucking joke. First of all, if somebody,
Yeah.
because it happened, bro. Listen, funny story.
Yeah.
So, there's a guy. I think his name Justin. I think it is.
Yeah.
And we're in the shop. He's getting his hair cut by somebody else. And I overhear him say something about being a cop. And I kind of turned around. He said, "Well, do I look like a cop?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
you like a
Yeah.
cop." So,
Yeah.
I said, not for nothing, because I always do this. If I meet a cop, I said, "Do you happen to know a Frank Demizio?"
Yeah.
He knows Frank.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh shit." I said, "Well, if you know Frank, you gotta know Michael Bright." He says, "Man, the funny thing about it is me and Michael Bright's brother are like really, really good friends. Yada yada, real good. Like I know Mike Bright like that." Um, you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
knows his brother. So
Yeah.
I said, that's my homie. I said, you can call him right now. That's my man. So we called Mike Bright, and Justin was like, "Yeah, Mike, man, I got your guy who claims he know you. This Omar dude, I'm about to lock him up, and he say he knows you." Michael's like, "Get the fuck out of here. Omar ain't do nothing. Like, it's got to be a joke." Like, that was his initial reaction. Like,
Yeah.
this got to be a joke. So
Right.
yeah, if I got arrested, my family and friends, I truly believe that they probably think it was a joke at first, but if it
Yeah.
was real, they would try to figure out a way to come help me out, because whatever I've done, it was either extremely stupid and I just got wrong place, wrong time, or it was justified for what I've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to jail for no stupid shit.
Right. Right. If you were a woman for a day, what would you do?
If I was a woman for a day with the mentality that I have,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd probably be a big hoe. No, I'm only saying it because it's so easy. Like, it's just
Yeah.
too easy. I don't know if women understand how easy. They claim that's not easy. I don't think they understand how
I
easy it
have no
is.
idea.
No idea. Oh my god, how
So
easy it
easy.
is for them. But no, if I was a woman for a day though, I'd probably go around, educating more women on what men think and what we really think and how we feel and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do.
All right. Last two. When it's all said and done and you reach the pearly gates, assuming God exists, what do you want God to say to you?
But I would simply want to say, you did it the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I look at the whole God relationship sometimes as a parent relationship, a parent to child.
Yeah.
You raise a child, you birth a child, but you have no control, no complete control over a child. You guide them as best you can, and you want them to do the best that they can.
Yeah.
And you always want the best for them, but they're going to do their own thing. And if they listen to you, you have to write instructions for them, tell them what to do and what not to do. If they listen to you, they should be okay. So, you know, I would like for God to say, I'm proud that you tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a weird question though, because some of these rules and religions,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everybody's a sinner. Everybody's done wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody broke the rules. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So I just mean what it means to you. That's
Yeah,
all.
for me, yeah, hey,
Because I don't believe in any of those rules,
I,
but
yeah, it's
uh,
hard to. The older I get, the less I believe in them. And
yeah.
I would just want, God or the Creator to say, hey, good job. I'm proud. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if the God's the Creator of all, to have that person say, "I'm proud of you," hey, it's like your mom or dad saying, "I'm proud of you,"
Right. And last question, what do you want to be remembered for here on earth?
for being genuinely me. That's it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? Because I truly believe who we are and how we are. Uh, Everybody's here for a reason and season, all type of stuff. And whether we realize it or not, we have an influence on others. And as long as I'm a positive influence to others, it's all good. Even if that influence comes around about from something negative that I've done, and
Yeah.
somebody, you know what I'm saying, learns from that or whatever case may be. That's pretty much it, bro. I think every individual should be proud to be that individual. I think we all kind of get indirectly trained to try to strive to be something that's that, you know what I mean, other than what we truly are. If you
Right.
can genuinely be who you are, whatever that is,
Yeah.
good, bad, or indifferent. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just be unapologetically yourself.
Yeah, man.
So that's about it.
Why don't you plug your band one more time?
Oh yeah, you could check me out with the band MobBluz. That's MobBluz. Find us everywhere at MobBluz, hip hop boom bap jazz band out of Philadelphia. If you like the roots, you'll love us. That's
Yeah,
the
you
type
will.
of vibe, you know what I mean? But it's not. We don't have a rapper or nothing like that. It's all instrumental band.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's
It's
real
fun.
fun.
It's
It's
enjoyable.
like we often say, we can care less if you remember our name,
Yeah.
or the names of the songs. Just remember how you felt. So
Yep.
please check us out, because we have spinoffs from all of that. Everyone in the band plays in separate bands and does separate things. You know, our
Yeah.
drummer MD, she plays with a punk band called JJX. Dope. Gabe Preston is a straight up jazz head, so he has his own group, GPS Sound. So
Yeah.
MobBluz, MobBluz. You can also catch me at South Street Barbers,
South Street Barbers,
1316 South Street. You know what I'm saying? Come through, get fresh.
and get some insight, get
Yeah.
some wisdom.
Yeah, that's it.
Sitting at the barbershop.
Yeah, the barber. It's a real true barbershop
Yeah.
experience. We look out for the kids, the old heads, you know, males, females, every orientation, you know, every race comes through and everyone has a good time. Located right there, 1316 South Street. Ask for Omar.
All right, buddy. I love you, man.
Love you too, bro. Thanks for having me here, man. It's great to see the family. Great to sit and talk with you. And let's do it again sometime soon.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. All right. To everybody else, see you next time.
Stay safe, people.
Out.